Chapter 701. Chaos under Heaven _5. Capital City. At the very time when turmoil struck Liangzhou in the Northern Territory, a great storm also brewed within the capital city, thousands of miles away, the two events unfolding simultaneously. In the 76th year of Emperor Longqing's reign, on the 7th day of the 9th month, on the eve of Emperor Cao Kai's seclusion, Mr. Feng Chu, Fang Qingyun, intercepted him on the way to the temple outside the city to offer sacrifices, presenting 3 accusations. First, the immortal's lack of compassion. Second, the emperor's foolishness. And third, the treachery of corrupt officials. It was this third accusation, before the eyes of tens of thousands of citizens, he revealed the truth about the 10 days in Yunzhou and the 3 prefectures of Guandu, listing 10 heinous crimes committed by the Yan family father and son, and imploring His Majesty the Emperor to punish them severely without mercy. Within the capital city, this set off a tempest. Due to insufficient evidence, both parties stood their ground. Therefore, Emperor Longqing ordered Chief Minister Yan Liang to temporarily step down and return to his home for recuperation, assigning King Jin, Chao Huan, along with Prince Qi and Prince Qin to thoroughly investigate the case. Until this day, the news of Chen Sanxi's rebellion in Beiliang added a thunderclap to the already intricate and stormy capital city. Within Zhongjue Hall, King Jin and Ming Qingfeng's faction faced off against Prince Qi, Prince Qin, and the representatives of the Yan Party faction. Upon seeing the secret letter about Liangzhou's rebellion and the White Robes' assembly of 100,000 soldiers, the hall fell into a dead silence. After a long while, Ming Qingfeng broke the silence, pointing at Yan Maoxing's nose and cursing, "Yan Maoxing, look at the mess you've made. You've incurred the wrath of heaven and the people. If you don't die, I fear all the border soldiers in the world will revolt." Nonsense. Where's the evidence? Just on the basis of a few fabricated letters and the baseless talk of some obscure travelers, you're pinning such a huge blame on me? Yan Maoxing countered craftily. This is clearly a scheme you, Ming Qingfeng, along with Fang Qingyun and Chen Sanxi concocted because you covet the position of chief minister. In my opinion, it's not Chen Sanxi who intends to rebel, but you, Ming Qingfeng. Enough. Shouldn't we first discuss how to deal with Chen Sanxi's rebellion? How dare you, young fool? The court has treated him with immense grace. Why would he commit such a heinous act of treason? Don't panic, General Ji is still in control of Liangzhou City, and should be able to hold out for some time. Moreover, with General Ji's record of slaughtering enemies and cultivation of the divine Tao, I believe his current strength might even surpass White Robes. The root of the problem still lies in Guandu in my view. If we take down Yan Maoxing and his son, the people under Chen Sanxi's command will naturally collapse. This matter is of great importance. It's best to let His Majesty decide. Longevity Palace. Congratulations to Your Majesty. Long live Your Majesty. Huang Hong looked at the porcelain bottle in Emperor Longqing's hand, expressing joy from the bottom of his heart. With the Foundation Establishment pill in hand, Your Majesty will soon achieve Foundation Establishment, and coupled with Dragon Abyss and the National Guardian Seal, you will be able to deter the immortal masters and protect the people. Cao Kai's expression was as unchanging as an ancient well as he asked indifferently, "Have you found out where Sun Xiangzong's items came from? It's most likely related to the extreme north from those days." Huang Hong spoke earnestly. "Ever since Sun Xiangzong's death, I've been searching, not just me, but many immortal masters and even cultivators from the ancient demon sect are searching. Continue the search." Emperor Longqing waved his horsetail whisk. "We can only truly protect the people as I've just mentioned once we have all of the Guardian's items. I'll be entering seclusion shortly. After I finish, I hope to receive accurate information. Your servant understands." Huang Hong rose to his feet. Yet hardly had he left for the time it takes to drink a small cup of tea, before he hurriedly returned, a look of urgency on his face. "Your Majesty, Chen Sanxi has rebelled." The old emperor was momentarily taken aback, his lips coldly curling before returning to normal. "Zizhan wishes to pass on his hatred for me to his disciple. I had thought my magnanimity could transform Chen Sanxi to serve me. Little did I know this would be like the farmer and the snake. The great general I painstakingly promoted bites back. Alas, Your Majesty, don't be enraged. Consider it feeding an ungrateful stray dog." Huang Hong spoke anxiously. The priority now, after all, is that Chen Sanxi has taken Yunzhou and Guandu as pretext to burn the spiritual grain, igniting signal fires 800 li wide in rebellion, and now he has assembled 100,000 troops besieging Liangzhou City. What is to be done? A traitorous subject and thief will never amount to much. Emperor Longqing stood up, his voice as deep as the 9 netherworld. "Whatever pretense they've used for rebellion, just obliterate with that very pretense. Once we get through this period, after my seclusion concludes, no one will be able to escape my grasp. Your servant understands." Zhongjue Hall. After a round of heated arguments, Yan Maoxing, alongside Prince Qi and Prince Qin, stormed out of the Grand Hall. On the way back, "Mr. Yan, be assured," Prince Qi comforted him. "With my brother and me here, we will never let Ming Qingfeng succeed. The current court landscape, Yan Party remains the Yan Party. But the original Crown Prince faction has slowly been replaced by followers headed by King Jin. If the Yen family father and son fall from power, there would be no opportunity for Prince Qi and Prince Qin. Naturally, they would do everything in their power to help clear the suspicions. Thank you both, your highnesses. Yen Maoxing gave a bow and continued. A country cannot be without its ruler for a day, nor without a crown prince. Once this incident is over, Yen will stake his life, if need be, to endorse you as the crown prince for our great Shang dynasty. The two parties said their farewells. Yen Maoxing hurried back to the Yen mansion. Inside Wutong courtyard. As usual, the elderly chief minister Yen, clad in fine silk clothes, sat leisurely in a wicker chair, feeding the birds with colorful seeds in his hand, as if everything happening in the capital city at that moment had nothing to do with him. Chapter 702. Chaos under Heaven _6. Dad, don't be afraid, our family is safe. Yen Maoxing comforted. The original matter was handled cleanly, and Fang Qingyun is just bluffing with inadequate evidence. I have already reached an agreement with Prince Qi and Prince Qin to devise a plan to frame Ming Qingfeng for this. Elder Yen remained silent, continuing to feed the birds. Dad? Oh Dad, why aren't you saying anything? Could it be that you really are prepared to wait for death? Forget it. You are old now, and some things are indeed too much for you to handle. Leave them to me. I'll write a letter right now, find a general from the 3 prefectures to provide false testimony, and stir the waters first. Having spoken, Yen Maoxing rushed into the study in the courtyard, just as he was about to grind ink at the desk when he froze as he crossed the threshold. Only to see, on the desk, there was a tray with a background of golden silk, and on top of the gold foil, strikingly lay a piece of white silk and a pot of imperial wine, offering a choice between the two. Dad, is this from the palace? Yen Maoxing was somewhat unsteady, supporting himself against the doorframe. What does this mean? What are they implying? After all that the Yen family has done for them, the moment there's trouble. It was I who volunteered for death. The elderly voice of Elder Yen echoed quietly, utterly calm. I was already nearing the grave. His Majesty is benevolent. As long as after I die you head to Bailiang and find Chongqing, the two of you should flee to West Qi, assume new identities, and refrain from government posts. The silver we have saved over the years will be enough for a lifetime of wealth. Quick, go and pack. The palace has given me 3 days. You have 3 days to leave the capital city. Duke Wuan Mansion. Inside the pavilion. In front of the chessboard. Your Highness, it's time to make a move. Fang Qingyun slowly picked up a chess piece. If my estimations are correct, His Majesty has already ordered the death of Elder Yen. Same old principle. Yen can only ever be overthrown, never truly executed. Otherwise, with Elder Yan's death, and additional orders to attack Dongxing to lessen the spiritual grain tax, things would become extremely complicated. His Majesty is officially heading to Kunlun Mountain tomorrow. We strike en route, whether successful or not, we'll proceed as previously discussed, using Prince Qin and Prince Qi as shields. All of us can then claim just cause. Snap! He finished speaking. The chess piece fell heavily. Of course I have made arrangements, said King Yen Chaoji, playing with a chess piece and arching his eyebrows. My 4th and 8th brothers are complete fools, truly more useful than our own men. They'll do whatever they're asked. But, he paused. After things escalate, it might not be safe for General Fang to stay in the capital city alone. Why not leave with us? It'll be beneficial when we raise an army later on, and we will also need Mr. Fang, this phoenix, to strategize. Why not? Fang Qingyun picked up a jade flute from beside the chessboard. Then, I'll await your command, Your Highness. The 76th year of Longqing, September 14th. Emperor Dashing set off toward Kunlun Mountain to engage in secluded cultivation, burning incense and praying along the way and notifying all the populace. Suddenly, above the clear sky, a sword cultivator appeared, his power surging, already exceeding the Qi refining 12th layer. He stood in mid-air, his voice booming. Chao Kai, Cui Jichen of Seeking Immortal Tower. I've come for your life. He finished speaking. A sword slashed down. Assassin! Assassins! Clang! The sound of swords being drawn was incessant. Several other cultivators appeared in the sky. For a moment, mana surged, and swords sparkled. Eventually, both sides suffered injuries. Seeking Immortal Tower cultivators escaped far away. The attempt to extract the Dragon Abyss sword and assassinate failed. Emperor Longqing also received injuries, and withdrew from public view to continue his seclusion. On the same day, under instigation, Prince Qi and Prince Qin, along with Yen Maoxing, conspired to assassinate King Jin Chaohuan. Chaohuan, protected by King Yen Chaoji, escaped the capital city overnight. Since then, Prince Qi, Prince Qin, along with the Yen party, controlled the court, refusing to die, causing outrage throughout the realm. King Jin Chaohuan and King Yen Chaoji fled to the eastern region, and with the support of local military officers and noble clans under the banner of purging the imperial side, they rallied an army of 80,000, taking control of 3 states. Indeed, Chaoji reminisced about the assassination attempt. With our strength, we still weren't enough to kill my father, not even able to force out the Dragon Abyss sword. But thankfully, Mr. Fong had planned ahead. This chaos has now pulled everyone into the water. Prince Qin, Prince Qi, have become the Yen party's men. If my father wants to kill Elder Yen and his son to calm the situation, what about killing Prince Qin and Prince Qi? If he really kills these two brothers of mine, my sixth brother King Jin, and I, allied, would seem as though tied to the assassination attempt by seeking Immortal Tower, to kill or not to kill? If he kills everyone, the court will have no one left to use. Thus, Prince Qin and Prince Qi won't die, nor will Yen Liang and his son. My brother has an excellent reputation, no less than the former crown prince, targeted by the Yen party, causing outrage across the realm. Once we launch a military campaign for vindication, we are assured of a just cause. A fine phoenix, excellent strategizing, along with that white robe, has stirred this realm into chaos. Thus far, the people only knew that the emperor was in seclusion. The Yen party, along with the foolish princes Qin and Qi, brought calamity to the court, allowing righteous forces to rise in rebellion. On September 26th, in the 76th year of Longqing, King Jin Chaohuan issued a decree, requesting aid from the white robe of Liangzhou to purge the imperial side. Liangzhou white robe, righteous cause for taking up arms. Late October of the same year, Dongqing, Nansu, and West Qi seized the opportunity of the chaos within Dashing, and attacked from three fronts. This can truly be said to be, when Shang loses the white robe, the whole world pursues. Dragon City no longer had a flying general to safeguard the empire. From then on, heroes rose up. The realm was thrown into chaos. Chapter 703. Striving for the World. Zhongjua Hall. Ever since the emperor sequestered himself for healing and cultivation, the fourth prince, Prince Qin, finally secured the long-coveted position of supervisor of the nation. He sat on the throne, his mood quite complex. However, there were still many troubles to resolve at the moment. There were formidable enemies arising from without, and within were King Jin, King Yen, and the rebellion of the Bailiang White Robes. My lords and ministers, Prince Qin declared loudly, what should we do next? The former minister of war, Ming Qingfeng, had deserted to join the rebellion of King Jin, Chao Huan. The new minister of war was Mu Fengchun, who had served for many years under Sun Xiangzong, later resigned to live in seclusion, and had not long ago re-entered court life. Your Highness, Mu Fengchun spoke slowly, the most pressing matter is to address the situation in Liangzhou. Be it King Jin or King Yen or even enemy states, they are using the chaos caused by the white robes as an opportunity to invade. Whether by execution or amnesty, if Liangzhou can be pacified, the realm will naturally return to peace. I propose that General Liu maintain his defense in Liangzhou until the Immortal Master and the Central Plains Army are dispatched by the court to Chuanshou Prefecture, the gateway to the Northern Territory, to subdue the rebel army. Quickly, Prince Qin commanded. What are you waiting for? Send a message to General Liu at once. As long as he can hold Liangzhou City, I will petition the emperor to promote him to State Duke. Liangzhou City. The standoff between the two sides had lasted for over half a month. Ji Lu held his ground and ordered Nie Yuan and others to spread rumors to shake the spirits of the rebel army. Brothers, senior brother Nie Yuan pleaded earnestly. I have heard that the emperor will soon eliminate Yen the bandit and restore peace to the court. You can all return home. Why continue this struggle? General Nie, Su Wenkai, sitting in a four-wheeled carriage, ordered his disciple Qi Chang to push him to the foot of the city wall. The news I received doesn't match with yours at all. Our rebel army is heeding the call of King Jin and King Yen, standing against the crisis to our rightful ruler, with justified cause. King Jin, King Yen? Nie Yuan frowned. What are you talking about? What I am talking about, General Nie will soon understand, Su Wenkai replied. Now go back and wait for the news. Having said his piece, Su Wenkai departed leisurely. Nie Yuan left the city wall, confused. When he reached the central army tent, he just so happened to hear an eunuch reading a secret missive. The emperor remained in seclusion. King Jin and King Yen had raised troops. Prince Qin with the Yen party had seized control of the politics, causing outrage throughout the land. How could this be? Seizing the secret missive and reading it himself, Nie Yuan muttered. It must be the fourth. He's behind this clever scheme. When the court sent him to the capital city, it was meant to take him as a hostage. No one expected him to create such turmoil, drowning everyone in the chaos. If this is indeed the case, then my junior brothers have truly come forth with righteous cause. Big brother, what do we do? The city does not have much grain left. We probably cannot hold out until reinforcements from other places arrive. Lu Ji didn't immediately respond, quietly gazing at the go board. After a long while, he began to collect the pieces, saying, Tell them to let Old Five come in for negotiations. I am considering opening the city gates to surrender. That night, fifth brother Meng Guangxin, undeterred by obstacles, stormed into the city, only to be detained. Days passed with no news. That bald donkey is 9 out of 10 dead. Wang Ji erupted in anger. Old Two, it's all your damn fault. You insisted on negotiating and now look. Those turncoat house slaves surely refined Old Five already. Ah! Second brother Cheng Wei stamped his foot in regret. Didn't I have no other choice? They might be short on grain, but the walls of Liangzhou are sturdy. If we fought, we wouldn't be able to take them down in a short while. And all the brothers inside are our own men. Do we really need to slaughter each other? Besides, what about the civilians inside if we pressure them too much? If you ask me, it's all old Five's fault. He was always the one who taunted Big Brother the most. Now look where that got him. Were I the one to negotiate, I certainly wouldn't end up detained. Well then, you go. I won't go. Brothers, enough. Chun Sansi interrupted. Since they're unwilling to open the gates, we'll have to take matters into our own hands. Send out the order to tighten the siege. In 10 days, I will lead the charge to begin the assault. With a definitive strike. October. A torrential downpour struck Bailiang. Dark clouds hung low, seemingly on the verge of crushing the city at any moment. Not a sliver of light visible in the heavenly dome. The atmosphere pervaded with a depressing aura. The wind carried thunder, echoing across the sky, as the rain poured down like a barrage of arrows, beating the ground with a deafening roar. Streets were instantly flooded by rainwater, which formed rivulets, and mud and gravel rolled away in the deluge, shaking the entirety of the northern territory. After the harvest season was over, the defending forces in Liangzhou City completely missed the window to receive grain shipments from various states. With their provisions exhausted, continuing to hold out meant cannibalism or plundering civilian and sect granaries. Even then, it would only buy a few more days. The Bailiang rebel army, with 60,000 troops amassed like a tidal wave, totally encircled Liangzhou. A man in a white robe, riding atop a white horse, approached the city wall alone. Without raising his voice, yet still overpowering the thunder, his voice reached every corner of Liangzhou. Listen up, brothers inside the city. The emperor neglects the state affairs, leaving treacherous officials to rule, with Prince Qin and the Yen party causing chaos in the land. We, the Bailiang rebel army, heed the call of King Jin, standing against the crisis, purging the emperor's side of vile forces, as an army of justice. Those of you who tolerate the foolish and deaf are an army without justice. Chapter 704. Striving for the world _2. Now, with the city's provisions exhausted, I give you one last half day. If you do not open the city gates and surrender, you will have no choice but to await being trampled by 100,000 iron cavalry. The ultimatum was issued. Then came Su Wenkai and others taking turns to persuade them to surrender, invoking comradeship, and why the haste to turn on one another. The soldiers defending the city within all wore solemn expressions on their faces. By noon, the sound of the war drums rose, mixing with the heavenly thunder. The dim heavenly dome occasionally lit up with flashes of lightning, illuminating the rebel army's formations arrayed outside the city, inevitably striking fear into the hearts and making the atmosphere all the more tense and oppressive. There, a rider in a white robe on a white horse led a vanguard army of 2,000, ready to take the lead and personally storm and scale the city walls first. Humming roar. It was at this moment that the sound of Liangzhou city gates opening mixed with the roaring thunder as the towering figure in vermilion armor, wearing crown feathers and wielding the heavenly halberd, Lu Ji rode out on a fiery red warhorse, alone, slowly emerging from the city. A servant of 3 masters? Release the 5th one. Wang Ji and others within the military formation were about to draw their swords on the spot. But Chun Sansi at the very front raised his arm, signaling them to stand down, and then rode forth alone to meet him. In the pouring rain, under the thunder and lightning, one person in a white robe on a white horse, one person in vermilion armor on a red horse. Only 7 steps apart, they faced each other from a distance. Junior brother. Lu Ji began to speak, so only both of them could hear. Must it be this way? Chun Sansi replied indifferently. It must be this way. You cannot win. Lu Ji said sternly. Behind the court is the Immortal Sect, and the Immortal Sect will soon hire formation masters and other immortal masters, as well as martial arts family warriors of the true power realm. His Majesty is also about to succeed in Foundation establishment. You cannot win this fight. It's not too late to stop now. With me here, no one will have to die. I am a hunter. Chun Sansi answered calmly. An arrow shot can never return. It seems you won't shed tears until you see the coffin. Then, Lu Ji paused. Then his voice suddenly rose. Let me see how capable you really are then. Chun Sansi. In an instant, his voice echoed between heaven and earth, shaking the rain curtain, and all the 100,000 onlookers could hear it clearly. You're right. We all hail from Bailiang. There is no need for us to slaughter each other. In that case, why not make a gentleman's agreement between us? How about that? A gentleman's agreement? Sansi, don't listen to the servant of 3 masters. Wang Ji and others called out in warning. Eldest brother. Chun Sansi faced him. Please continue. You and I, let us decide the winner right here, regardless of life and death, without the interference of a third party. Lu Ji's robust call resonated through heaven and earth. If I win, you'll degrade your own ranks, your military power, and send your wife and children to the capital city. Then hand over the dragon scripture and put an end to this chaos. If I lose, I'll withdraw my troops voluntarily and hand over Liangzhou city to you. How about it? Junior brother, you mustn't do this. Chang Wei and the others were persuading him earnestly. The Shancher family cultivates evil techniques. Who knows what traps they have set for you? However, everyone only heard the white robe agree, his voice echoing and resonating. Good. Agreed. The rain was falling even harder now. In the waterfall-like rain that obscured everyone's vision, people could only vaguely hear the sound of warhorses neighing like dragon roars and dimly see the purple light climbing continuously, transforming into twisted dragon and elephant figures before a fire dragon suddenly appeared through the curtain of water, its scorching flames vaporizing the rainwater and creating a dense fog as it collided head-on with the incense fire dragon. Boom, boom, boom. Across the cloud-filled heavenly dome, lightning struck again. The long-dan bright silver spear and the heavenly halberd clashed repeatedly, their deafening sounds mixed with thunder, shaking heaven and earth. On the 8th day of October, in the 76th year of Longqing, the white robe, Chun Sansi, and the red-armored Ji fought for 36 rounds outside Liangzhou City. In the 37th round, the white robe's spear pierced through Ji's chest and knocked him off his horse, emerging victoriously. The white robe was henceforth recognized as the gun god true inheritor of the elephant sect, without dispute. The next day, both parties kept their promises. The black tortoise, the white tiger, and the heavenly lion, three camps, led by Nie Yuan, withdrew from Liangzhou City. From then on, the white robe occupied Liangzhou City, securing his position in both Yu and Liang states, commanding an army of 100,000, always preparing to march south to cleanse the courtside. The continuous downpour finally ceased after several days. The black tortoise and other camp soldiers retreated in an orderly fashion along the muddy, uneven official road, filled with puddles. Third brother Nie Yuan drew back the curtain of the carriage. Big brother, how are you? Bare-chested inside the carriage, Ji sat with his legs crossed, looking pale. He was currently biting on a bandage, wrapping it around himself with the wound located below his left chest, barely half an inch away from the heart. Speaking of spear technique, junior brother has already shown signs of barely surpassing our master, Nie Yuan remarked with a sigh. But his strike was too ruthless. Big brother, you never wanted his life. Suddenly, Ji spoke up. Do you think why the wound is precisely half an inch off the mark? Nie Yuan fell silent for a moment. Big brother, junior brother is a monster, not human. No one under the heavens can compare to junior brother's talent in martial arts. Not even master at his time, so you don't need to feel dejected. A loss is a loss, Ji said with a wry, resigned laugh. It seems that master didn't choose the wrong person. As they talked, his pupils suddenly shone with a purple light, as if he turned into another person for a moment. And then, with one hand on his crown, his face twisted in pain. Is it that evil spirit again? Seeing this, Nie Yuan said with a worried expression. Big brother, you mustn't practice the evil god path anymore. That sinister presence disturbs your mind day and night. If this continues, you will succumb to the evil eventually. It's already too late. About the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, the symptoms gradually subsided, and Ji spoke with a sense of release. From the moment I established communication with it, it was already too late. There is no turning back on the evil god path. Chapter 705. Striving for the world _3. Big brother. Nie Yuan's pupils dilated, his tone fraught with the anger of being deceived. Are you really going to fall into devilry? Little third, cough cough. Without answering directly, LVG sat in the continuously jolting carriage, looking out at the setting sun's afterglow through the window. To tell you the truth, I don't feel that anything that happened in the past was wrong. I don't understand. In this world, other than our fellow disciples and kin, what do the life and death of others have to do with me? Why should I care? Survival of the fittest is the truth of this world. Clang! Nie Yuan, who had always followed his senior, unsheathed his sword upon hearing these words. Big brother, if you justify your descent into devilry with this logic, don't blame me for turning against you. LVG, as if he heard nothing, continued to speak to himself. But I respect master. If master says it's wrong, then it must be wrong. I, LVG, can swear that in this life, I will only slay enemies, not take innocent lives, so you can rest assured. Hearing this, Nie Yuan slowly lowered his sword, warning. But you also need to understand that the evil god path can bewitch people's minds. Recently, I found some texts about the incense fire divine Tao. It's clearly written in them. Once you practice the incense fire divine Tao to a certain extent, whoever you worship as your god, you must follow that god's path and serve them forever. The reason the evil god path is considered evil is that the gods they worship usually crave blood, making the living their sacrifice. This cannot be changed. Moreover, the evil god can even directly control your spirit, leaving you no say in the matter. Big brother, there's still time to turn back. Find a way to acquire the incense fire sacred object to cleanse your spirit platform and abolish the cultivation of the evil god path. Enough. LVG didn't listen any further. I have my own path to follow. No need for further discussion. Nie Yuan knew he couldn't persuade him and, with a sigh and a stomp of his foot, turned and left. The carriage grew quiet. The only sounds were the clatter of horse hooves and the wheels rolling over the muddy ground. The side effects of the evil god path came upon him again. LVG's body trembling painfully, but he did not make a sound, simply closing his eyes, focusing inward on his body. Atop his spirit platform, a twisted shrine loomed, hazy, malevolent, seducing the heart. This time, it took a full half an incense stick's time before everything slowly subsided. Drenched in cold sweat, LVG suddenly opened his eyes, looking at the distorted visage of the deity before him, his lips twisting into a disdainful snarl. Capital City, Zhongjua Hall. The Prince Regent, King Qin, sat in the primary seat, relishing the feeling of commanding the court. Report. A eunuch burst into the hall in a panic. Terrible news. 10 days ago, General LV and Chun Sansi were defeated just outside Liangzhou City, wounded heftily. Left with no choice, the Black Tortoise and the three camps had to withdraw from Liangzhou. Now Liang and Yu states have both fallen into the hands of the White Robe. What? Is that Ji also useless? Prince Qin roared with thunderous fury. Haven't they all said that he practices evil techniques? He practices evil techniques, yet he can't even defeat a mere martial artist. Quick! Find a way to notify His Majesty who is in seclusion. Only His Majesty can summon the immortal master. Kunlun Mountain, Cave Heaven Blessed Land. This cave mansion was built against the mountain, hidden behind a waterfall, everything inside carved from the mountain rock. Yet on the hard stone floor, there grew a small tree sapling, half a person tall, and as thick as a woman's white wrist, emitting a dense spiritual energy. However, many of the once green leaves on its branches were beginning to yellow, showing signs of withering. At the same time, Capital City was in turmoil. The news of Ji's defeat and Liangzhou's loss had also reached this cave mansion. Emperor Longqing, his complexion not looking good due to injuries, had a face as somber as water. Your Majesty, your dragon health is of the utmost importance. The other party said nothing, but Huang Hong could feel an overbearing dragon's rage seething. In just one short month, first the White Robe rebelled, then King Yen allied with seeking Immortal Tower to assassinate and overthrow, while Prince Qin and Prince Qi were only concerned with fighting for power and profit, throwing the entire court into chaos and the realm into great disorder. Anyone would be furious. The failure to teach is the father's fault. Emperor Longqing, eyes closed, was clearly chastising himself, yet it made everyone within the cave heaven-blessed land feel as if they couldn't breathe. Over these years, I have focused on cultivation and managing state affairs, completely neglecting to properly nurture the crown prince. I have let down my ancestors. This incident. It was one thing for King Yen Chaoji to ally with seeking Immortal Tower, but what was truly infuriating was the stupidity of Princes Qin and Qi. Actually believing in slander, they attempted to kill King Jin Chao Huan, forcing King Jin to leave Capital City along with King Yen, stirring up the realm in an uproar, ruining a perfectly good strategy. Your Majesty, things have come to this. Huang Hong, having served intimately for decades, understood his master's heart best. Your Majesty still needs to continue seclusion. The affairs of the court must now be handled by them. Fortunately, we have the assistance of the Immortal Master from Shangyun sect. Based on the timeline, someone should be arriving soon. Not long after these words fell, a voice that penetrated the waterfall outside was heard. In a short while, 3 cultivators arrived inside the cave mansion. Daoxian Wanderer, Array Master of Shangyun sect, pays his respects to Emperor Dashing. Ling Yun from the Ling family, representative of the martial arts of Heavenly Water Continent, has come to meet with Taoist friends. The last person was Li He, a cultivator from the Li family, who had already met with the emperor. He looked at the old emperor with a hint of mockery on his face. If Taoist friend Chao Kai had heeded my words earlier and eliminated the White Robe Chun San, how could there be such chaos today?
Hehe alto viva.
Emperor Longqing was not angered but simply said sheepishly, moving forward, I must trouble the Taoist friends to exert themselves in their respective duties and get through the present difficulties. Huang Hong, I will continue seclusion. You arrange the rest. Chapter 706. Striving for the World _4. Master, rest assured, I understand. Huang Hong made a gesture of invitation and led several immortal masters outside. My ancestor of the Ling family has personally gone to Mang Mountain Town to guard. The ancestor vein will definitely not fall into the hands of the thieves from Luoya Valley. Ling Yun said calmly. And I, together with Senior Li He, will lead other cultivators to assist the Taoist in suppressing the rebellion in the north and resist the foreign invasion. Do you immortal masters feel confident? Huang Hong reminded subtly. That White Robe Chun Sansi is an excellent fighter. In just a few years he has fought from south to north and could be said to be unmatched across the world, especially with his control over a heavenly book array, which can manipulate heavenly phenomena inscrutable like gods and ghosts, something to be wary of. First, when Fang Qingyun entered the capital, he had handed over a talisman, claiming that it could manipulate heavenly phenomena in conjunction with the heavenly book array. But with White Robe's rebellion and after 3 declarations by Fang Qingyun, the truth of the matter was self-evident. I have also studied that heavenly book array thoroughly. Dao Xian Wanderer, stroking his beard confidently, said. The formation within it was originally designed for those in the cultivation world, merely requiring array flags and spirit stones for enhancement. If Chen Sansi can use it, so can I. Dao Xian. Is that indeed the case? Huang Hong said. When Chen Sansi arrayed his troops, he never used those. I am aware of that too, Dao Xian Wanderer said curiously. Most likely, he still holds some extraordinary magical weapon in his hand. Once he dies, we can seize that as well. Right? Ling Yun added. After all, we are people of the cultivation world, unfamiliar with military strategies and tactics. Who will command the overall situation? I have a loose cultivator friend, Dao Xian Wanderer said. His mastery in formations even surpasses mine. He was once a grandmaster of military tactics in the secular world and a frequent chess opponent of Han Xiong from Luoya Valley. The sect has already set a bounty for him. Once he returns from his travels, he should be able to arrive quickly. It's just, we need time, so shall I take command now? I must confess, I have also read quite a few military books. This has already been arranged. Huang Hong hastily said. A few days ago, the court decreed an order specially requesting other immortal masters to guard Nansu in the south, meanwhile transferring Prince Zhan Nan here to deal with White Robe. Prince Zhan Nan is not only battle-hardened but also a true power warrior in the true power realm, a great support for all immortal masters. Only, since Prince Zhan Nan advanced to the true power realm, he becomes crazed every full moon night. We don't know the cause. I was hoping some immortal masters could help investigate, Huang Hong suggested. Oh, your eastern continent has sparse spiritual energy, yet it produced 2 true power warriors, truly a rare occurrence. Ling Yun, born into a martial arts family, expressed his interest. Where's Prince Zhan Nan now? Take me to see him quickly. He is recuperating in a palace on Kunlun Mountain. Under eunuch Huang Hong's lead towards the palace, but before they reached the place, a loud explosion resonated from the mountain, accompanied by screams of agony. Prince Zhan Nan has gone mad. His Highness has gone mad. Boom! Atop the high mountain, a figure like a starving beast burst free, charging down. Along the way, he killed anyone he encountered, a single punch reducing a palace made to a mist of blood, and any obstacle in his path was smashed with a punch. Upon closer inspection, this person was dressed in a python robe, displaying his noble status in the imperial family. But his hair was disheveled, his clothes untidy, as if he was suffering from lunacy, utterly devoid of any conscious awareness. Your Highness! Eunuch Huang Hong shivered and quickly said, This is what I mentioned about him going mad. But it always happened during the full moon night. How could it happen during the day like today? As they spoke, Prince Chao Rong had noticed them, like a fierce tiger smelling blood, his true power surging tumultuously, a tremendous evil chi storming towards them. The true power he emitted even surpassed the early stages of the true power realm. This is martial cultivator Ling Yun, who had practiced martial arts since childhood, quickly recognized the signs. A cultivation deviation causing meridian disorder leading to demonic intrusion. Should be controllable. Help me, 2 Taoist friends. All right, the other 2 agreed reluctantly, knowing that an extra hand in dealing with White Robe would make things more secure. Dao Xian Wanderer waved his sleeve, releasing 7 array flags, each glowing with different colors. They flew out and confined the frenzied beast-like Prince Zhan Nan within, followed by golden light chains extending from the ground, entangling his limbs. From the Li family, Li He also summoned his life-bound flying sword. Unlike ordinary cultivators, he had once taken a foundation establishment pill. Although he didn't succeed in establishing his foundation, he could continue to advance in the chi refining realm until his natural death. Now, he also possessed the strength of the 16th layer of chi refining. A sword thrusted down, as if causing mountains to collapse and the earth to split. Boom! Chao Rong roared, crossing his arms to block, bursts of black evil chi erupting, forming a shield of true power, staunchly resisting the sword chi. Meanwhile, Ling Yun took the opportunity to approach, holding several silver, shining needles in his hand. With the concerted efforts of the 3, and after several exchanges, he successfully inserted the silver needles onto the top of Prince Zhan Nan's head. Immediately, the blood in Prince Chao Rong's pupils receded. The evil chi on his body slowly dissipated, and eventually, he staggered and collapsed backward. It took about the time it takes to drink a cup of tea before he reopened his eyes, having regained his senses. How strange! Chapter 707. Striving for the World _5. Ling Yun placed his hand on the other's acupoints, feeling the abnormal meridians, and clicked his tongue in wonder. Brother, could you please show me the cultivation technique you've been practicing? Don't worry. I just need to look at a few sentences. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, Chao Rong slowly came to his senses, and he was also curious. Despite having achieved great success in his divine power and certain that his technique was authentic, why were there such severe side effects? Originally, he even thought that the dragon scripture was supposed to be that way, that the white-robed would go mad in private, until the rebellion in Bailiang revealed there must be a problem. Without much hesitation, Prince Chao Rong took out several pages of the technique and handed them over for inspection. This technique of yours. Ling Yun only glanced at it for a moment before he discovered the issue and a look of fury crossed his face. Brother, Chao Rong, who had only recently recovered, asked in a husky voice. Is my technique a fake? No, the technique is authentic, Ling Yun cursed. But someone extremely sinister has tampered with it. They've completely scrambled the sequence of the technique. When opening the scenic gods normally, one starts from within the cranium, not from the feet. Hold on. He suddenly realized something, looking at Prince Chao Rong with incredulity. You cultivated using this jumbled technique and succeeded? Jumbled. Eagerly standing up, Chao Rong asked, what impact will this have on my future cultivation? The human body's secret points must be opened in a specific order. Now that you've forced open the 8 scenic gods in disarray, it's like you're blocking your own path forward. To put it plainly, you'll only stay in the early stage of the true power realm for your entire life, unable to advance even an inch. Ling Yun sighed again. In this world, there's someone who practiced the wrong technique and reached true power. Such talent is rare, probably not much less than Qin Sansi, who practiced martial arts for only a few years. What a pity. It's all ruined. My path forward is severed? Hearing this, Chao Rong staggered back as if struck by lightning, then abruptly moved forward. Is there a way to remedy this? He originally wanted to practice martial arts in peace, which is why he chose to leave the capital city to guard the southern borders willingly, to avoid the court's overt and covert battles. After that, he practiced martial arts every day for 20 years. After martial saint, with different weapons alone, he practiced nearly 100 types. All of it was just to enhance his true chi by a fraction. Now that he had finally obtained a legendary technique that surpassed martial saint, and touched upon the possibility to go further like an immortal, and now he's told his path forward is cut off. Don't panic just yet. Ling Yun seemed to admire the other's talent, patiently advising. If you can get the original version of the technique and combine it with heavenly and precious resources to cleanse your body, there's a faint hope you can cultivate normally. Moreover, even though you can't advance your realm, the true power you displayed just now far exceeds that of an ordinary early true power realm stage. I have already opened 4 of the central 8 scenic gods, and together with Daoshan Wanderer, Taoist Li He, and the cooperation of the rest of our group, we should be able to eradicate that so-called rebel army and execute the white-robed without a problem. Chun Sansi, Fang Qingyun. Prince Chao Rong's eyes split with rage. I am determined to kill you. Liangzhou, the rightful Bailiang army has taken up residence in the city. From this day forward, this place is truly Chun Sansi's home, where no one can transfer him away any longer. Family members previously settled in a safe area outside the city have also been returning one after another. Practicing with the spiritual pearl, there's no longer any need for secrecy, but rather openly at the lakeside pavilion behind the mountain. Cultivation technique. Swallowing fire technique. Qi refining 3rd layer. Progress. 566 out of 800. Once Qin Sansi has the time to refine more elixir pills, and his magic cultivation approaches a breakthrough to the Qi refining middle stage, it won't be far off, but the pace of the dragon scripture is extremely slow, taking an average of 5 to 6 months to open a single scenic god. Even if this pace is considered unparalleled, it is still too slow for him. Because the emperor is about to attempt foundation establishment. With the scheme of his 4th senior brother, seeking Immortal Tower, and the old emperor fought a battle, successfully slowing down his foundation establishment, but it was ultimately impossible to prevent it. And he obviously couldn't directly attack the capital city or Kunlun Mountain right away. Therefore, while heading south to wage war, he must not fall behind in his cultivation. He needs to find time to visit the cultivation world again, finish the transaction with the Bai family, and see if he can get some elixir pills from them to accelerate the cultivation speed of the true power realm. War isn't an overnight affair, especially when it comes to siege and territory conquest, which can take months or even years. Doing both simultaneously won't cause any delay. Moreover, once Qin Sansi cultivates the swallowing fire technique to the 4th layer, and enters the Qi refining middle stage with controlling flight abilities, it will save a lot of time coming and going. Putting thoughts aside, he estimated that all the generals in the city should have already converged, and it was time to plan out the next big steps. In the barracks inside the central army tent, all the generals, except for those who must stay to guard key locations, had gathered here. Su Wenkai, bring the map. Chun Sansi entered the tent hurriedly. Greetings, Commander. The generals saluted in unison. The title of supervisor had become insignificant. With or without the court, he is now the commander of 100,000 iron cavalry. Please look, my lord. Su Wenkai had everything ready in advance. Before them hung a map over a yard long, depicting the entire world. In less than 2 months, the world had drastically changed. Everything needed to be reassessed and strategized. After the white-robed sat in the command seat, Su Wenkai took up a feather fan and began to summarize the current situation for all the generals. Chapter 708. Striving for the World _6. Commander, gentlemen. The world can now be described as in great chaos. Let's start with ourselves. Currently, our Bailiang Orthodox forces possess Hongza, great spears, 8 camps, and additionally, the recently surrendered garrison troops from Yu State, totaling 140,000 soldiers, powerfully stationed across 61 prefectures in Liang and Yu states. Then, there are the other three nations. Nansu's 500,000-strong army, under the command of Grandmaster Zhong Hu, has begun a large-scale offensive towards the south, while the Great Shang Court is defending with an immortal master and Mr. West Qi's 200,000-strong army, after entering Ming State, is attempting to move southward into the Central Plains to seize Mang Mountain, while simultaneously advancing north out of Sword Gate Canyon to attack Yen State. Currently in Yen State, there are only Heavenly Strategy, Anshan, and Hupao camps, along with a few garrison troops, essentially facing enemies on both fronts. Before long, we will be able to take the opportunity to seize control of the Heavenly Strategy camp. As for Anshan and Hupao camps, they are likely unable to withstand the pressure and will retreat from Yen State, flee to the Central Plains, then regroup with the supervisory army at Mang Mountain to confront the West Qi troops. Let's talk about Dongqing. Not long ago, the Empress of Dongqing abdicated the throne to Shen family's King Zhou, and in collaboration with the Immortal Master, in just 2 months, captured several states including Ziwei Mountain that had been retaken a few years ago, and also conquered Yunzhou, which borders Yu State. Then there's King Jin and King Yen, located near Ziwei Mountain in Lingzhou, controlling 3 states with 80,000 troops. However, their geographic position is unfavorable, and I reckon they will soon be forced to retreat to 2 states, a situation not looking optimistic. Lastly, the court. The current court is really surrounded by enemies on all sides, except for the Imperial Army and a small portion of troops close to capital city. Practically all have been deployed. Furthermore, they have also assembled Prince Chao Rong along with several cultivators and 400,000 troops from the Central Plains, heading towards the Northern Territory, with an overwhelming momentum. After listening, Wang Ji scratched his head. This is really damn chaotic. Indeed. Fan Hailing flattered. This is called, when the Shang loses its white robe, all under heaven pursue it. Without our commander holding down the fort, all the demons and ghosts in the world would run amok. That's natural. Su Wenkai added, then continued seriously. Since our Bailiang army has risen in rebellion, we naturally cannot remain passive. We must think of a way to fight outward. But if we want to enter and reach the Central Plains, we must first take down Chuanxiu Prefecture, which is known as the gateway to the Central Plains. That's where the problem lies. Currently, we are surrounded by enemies on 3 fronts. Yes, indeed. Fan Hailing once again complimented. Fortunately, our commander defeated the barbarians 2 years ago, or else we would have been surrounded on all sides. Chun Sansi touched his forehead. General Fan, the army has just entered the city. Go sort out the military affairs, and we'll call you back if needed. Yes, Commander. Fan Hailing, without another word, took his leave on command. Continue, Chun Sansi signaled. Currently with enemies on 3 fronts, every action we take can set off a chain reaction. If we try to attack any side, the other 2 will strike at our rear. And the situation now, neither our troop strength nor our provisions are sufficient to support us fighting on 3 fronts simultaneously. Su Wenkai paused, then continued. Actually, my suggestion to you, sir, is to build high walls, store up grain, and delay the kingship. Chen Sansi looked at him. Yes, proclaiming kingship. Su Wenkai analyzed the pros and cons. Before the great turmoil in capital city, even if it was cleaning the emperor's side, we would inevitably be called rebels afterward, but after the turmoil, the situation is completely different. With everyone seeing the emperor closing himself off and not emerging, allowing the kings of Qin and Qi to disrupt the court, causing the world to fall into chaos, it's clear it's not just because of evil influences misleading the royal hearing, but because the emperor himself is inept and incompetent. Furthermore, Mr. Fong and I continue to spread the deeper truths of 10 days in Yunzhou and 3 prefectures at Guandu among the populace. As the warfare intensifies, his true colors will gradually be revealed. There won't even be the word rebel anymore. But Shang is tyrannical and unjust. Everyone under heaven may campaign against it. King Jin, in order to win over the remaining hearts, will certainly declare himself emperor. We can also proclaim ourselves kings in Bailiang. And once our strength is fully amassed, we can move south out of the passes, taking over the world, plotting for great achievements. A dynasty truly has its own destiny. If King Jin declares himself emperor now, nobody would accept it. But as time goes on, the original destiny will gradually deplete, and the situation will change. Not possible. However, Chun Sansi quickly vetoed Mr. Wulong's plan about the future 10 years of Liangzhou, because it's too long. True, he could also cultivate to become stronger and catch up to the emperor's realm. In the grand scheme, securing the 2 states first, then figuring out how to take over Yen State and Yunzhou, and occupying the entire northern territory before slowly plotting further, indeed seems like a more rational choice. But don't forget, the world still has ancestor veins. Once the ancestor vein revives, and the seals of heaven and earth suffer even greater damage, higher realm cultivators will pour into the eastern continent, and all is lost. Thus, this battle for the Central Plains cannot be delayed. Delaying for Bailiang, for our brothers, and even for the common people of the world, brings no benefits. 2 years. Chun Sansi finalized the timeline, redraft the plans, Within 2 years I must reach capital Chang'an. I don't care about what you mentioned regarding proclaiming kingship. I have no time to consider these now, nor am I interested. I want, within these 2 years, to take Cao Kai's life. Upon hearing this, all present were shocked. Conducting a military campaign is a lengthy process. Whether it was Wang Ji or the other masters, they had also prepared for a protracted war. Yet their junior, also the current commander, boldly declared he would reach the capital city within 2 years. 2 years. That's at most enough time for 1 or 2 major battles. This is a plan to decisively battle all the way to the capital city and contend for the Central Plains. Chapter 709. Southern Expedition by Family. Military strategy matters. There's no need to doubt Su Wensai's expertise. Chen Sansi already had a plan in mind. He reiterated with certainty, "That's right, 2 years. Even if there were deviations, it couldn't exceed 3 to 4 years. The longer the delay, the more difficult the battle would become. The harm brought to the people by years of continuous warfare was also colossal. Better a short pain than a long one. Finding every possible way to end the war quickly was beneficial for everyone. If my lord wishes for a swift resolution, then our Bailiang army must find a way to march south quickly and enter the Central Plains." After pondering for a while, Su Wenkai spoke again. "And for the Bailiang army to enter the Central Plains, there are 2 routes. Either we make a detour through Yu State and Yunzhou on the spacious official road, or we take the route along the border of Yu State's Hongze River, but not to mention Dongqing's covetous gaze in Yunzhou. The several key passes to the south have long been blocked by the court. If we take the normal route, we will inevitably have to engage in continuous siege warfare which will not only consume time but also greatly deplete our supplies and military strength. The other route is to cross the Luotian mountain range, emerge from the Qilin Mountains cliff plank road, and then attack Chuanqiu Prefecture. But what we can think of, the court can also predict. Thus, it's likely the plank road has already been burned by them. Even if we rebuild it, it would be continuously sabotaged, not to mention, individuals like Prince Chao Rong are now gathered within Chuanqiu Prefecture, which lies beyond the plank road and is an inevitable path upon exiting. It's just another dead end. The march south of Bailiang was never an easy task to begin with. Otherwise, the court wouldn't have initially allowed Sun Xiangzong to control so many troops in Bailiang. On one hand, he indeed needed to suppress the barbarians. On the other hand, it made rebellion not so easy. The Luotian mountain range was a treasure land of resources for those who practiced martial arts, and also a natural barrier between the Northern Territory and the Central Plains. Junior brother, Chang Wei, clacking away on his abacus, finally suggested, "Otherwise, we should follow Mr. Su's advice and take our time. It's difficult for us to penetrate the border, but taking Yen State to the west and advancing to Yunzhou in the east isn't hard. Especially under the current circumstances. Both Dongqing and West Qi are only focused on Mang Mountain and are unlikely to pay too much attention to us. Once we have the 4 states of the Northern Territory under our control, dragging it out for 3 to 5 years, then thinking about entering the passes will be much easier in terms of both military strength and supplies." The White Robe did not join the discussion. They knew that no one could talk him out of it. "My lord, it's not that I lack ambition." Su Wenkai once again pointed out the difficulties. "The reality is that we are lacking in supplies and military strength. Yen State is manageable. With you leading the troops, we could take it within 2 months. But afterward, we would inevitably face attacks from Dongqing, and we would need to allocate a large part of our forces to cope with that. Consequently, we would have neither the military strength nor the supplies to take the Qilin Mountain Plank Road and attack Chuanqiu Prefecture. If the Plank Road is impassable, then we don't take it." Chen Sansi suddenly interrupted. "If we lack supplies, let's make sure Chuanqiu Prefecture lacks them too." "My lord means." Su Wensai's feather fan landed on a city marked clearly on the yellowish map behind Chuanqiu Prefecture with the words, Hongdu Prefecture. Hongdu Prefecture was situated just beyond Chuanqiu Prefecture. It was also an essential transit point for the Central Plains to transport food supplies to the Northern Territory. If Hongdu Prefecture could be seized, it would be akin to driving a nail into the court supply line, isolating Chuanqiu Prefecture as a stranded city. But the issue is, Wang Ji rubbed the hilt of his blade. Hongdu Prefecture lies beyond Chuanqiu Prefecture. You can't bypass Chuanqiu Prefecture unless you fly over it, and even if you manage to fly across, the soldiers under your command can't do the same. Beside Qilin Mountain, there is a miasma-filled mountain known as Yinping Mountain. Chen Sansi looked at the map and revealed, Yinping Mountain is rugged and difficult to navigate, stretching for hundreds of miles, but Hongdu Prefecture just so happens to be outside of Yinping Mountain. Therefore, our plan is to openly repair the plank road while covertly crossing Yinping, making use of the dense vegetation and miasma of Yinping Mountain as cover to directly reach Hongdu Prefecture and cut off their supply route. If Bailiang has no provisions, let them suffer the same. Let us all starve together. Junior brother. Chang Wei's confusion grew. You've already said Yinping Mountain is difficult to traverse, and surrounded by miasma, it should be impossible for a large cavalry to pass through. Then we won't use cavalry. Chan Sansi had already done the calculations. The medicinal herbs in the Liangzhou warehouse can produce enough anti-miasma pills for 7,000 people. These 7,000 will accompany me on foot across the mountain directly to Hongdu Prefecture, crossing Yinping covertly to reach Hongdu directly. You really have a big nerve to come up with this. Senior Sister 9 Rong Yanxiu was somewhat lost for words but soon analyzed calmly. There's another problem. Even if you succeed and capture Hongdu Prefecture, you would still face a frenzied counterattack from Chuanqiu Prefecture's army. Do you plan to use 7,000 men against an enemy force that could well surpass 100,000 in their siege? 7,000 is enough. Chen Sansi made a shocking statement. He then asked, Su Wenkai, once Yen State has been pacified, if I hand over more than 90% of the military officers, troops, and supplies to you, how quickly can you settle Yunzhou and move to assault Chuanqiu Prefecture to support Hongdu? 5 months. Su Wenkai held his feather fan and bowed. Within 5 months, I will surely subdue Yunzhou, and then the entire army will march to attack Chuanqiu. Good. That's settled then. Chen Sansi began to issue commands. Su Wenkai, listen to my order. Starting today, you will send people to Qilin Mountain to urgently repair the plank road day and night, mobilizing the army to make feint attacks. Cheng Wei, listen to my order. Gather all the pharmacists and doctors to produce the anti-miasma pills, and ensure everything is ready within 2 months. There must be no errors. Chapter 710, Southern Expedition by Family_2. Rong Yanxiu, heed my command. You are to lead 40,000 troops to defend Yu State. You are only to hold, not to attack, and you must not lose a single city. Wang Ji, Wei Xian, Song Guizhi, Yi Fengxiu, heed my order. The 4 of you will join me to lead the Hengzi camp and the Great Halberd camp to Yen State to attack the 3 camps and intimidate West Qi. Your subordinate obeys. We're missing the bald monk. Grinding her silver teeth, Rong Yanxiu cursed. Back then, the treacherous slaves took the monk away under the pretext of withdrawing troops as hostages, and there has been no word since. Wang Ji shook his head. Most likely he's been refined. Sigh. The deployment was complete. Bailiang, from top to bottom, began to enter into meticulous operation. In the 76th year of Longqing, November. Wearing a white robe, Chen Sansi took advantage of the Yen State garrison being attacked from both sides by the Bailiang and West Qi forces, leading his troops on a surprise attack on Yen State, slaying the former commander of the Heavenly Strategy Camp, Yu Lingxing, and bringing the Heavenly Strategy Camp along with 20,000 garrison soldiers under his command. By the end of November, white-robed Chen Sansi began the standoff with West Qi. However, after the Battle of Guandu, the West Qi army, terrified by the white robe, retreated on its own after just 10 days under the suggestion of Commander Zhong Wuxin, pulling back within Ming State. The white-robed commander ordered Yi Fengxiu to lead the Heavenly Strategy Camp and the Yen State garrison troops to defend the junction of Ming State and Yen State at the Sword Gate Canyon, thoroughly blocking it off. Thus, Liang, Yu, and Yen States fell under the white robe. Everywhere he passed, he uprooted spiritual grain and eliminated treacherous officials, bringing the people's hearts back into alignment. After the Battle of Yen State, the Bailiang army began, under strict arrangements, to visibly repair paths while secretly massing a huge army, preparing to enter Yu State for a surprise attack on Yunzhou. During the preparation process, Bailiang collectively remained quiet as the calm before a storm. Governor Mansion. Inside the mountain cave mansion. On the stone platform, there were spiritual pearls emitting spiritual energy. Zhao Zhao and Ningxiang were focused on their cultivation. In the adjacent stone room, there was a pill furnace. Chen Sansi was conducting alchemy. As for the raw materials, spiritual grain, he had his own farmland. The governor mansion had fertile land of 1,000 mu. While Sun Xiangzong was alive, most of it had been distributed to landless commoners, but the remaining 100 or so mu were sufficient for Chen Sansi's needs, especially since the spiritual grain uprooted along the way wouldn't run out anytime soon. Spiritual grain, as a raw material, had no problems on its own. But when passed on to each civilian, it became a poison. Hum. The pill furnace in front of him began to tremble incessantly under the devouring of fierce red flames. Chen Sansi maintained his sealing gesture, channeling mana into it, while also using his divine sense to sense and control the great Tao changes inside the furnace. Before long, the fire extinguished, the formation faded, and the pill furnace floated open automatically, leaving behind several dark green Dan pills inside. True martial pills. Years ago at the Fish and Dragon Collection in Daisfang City, he once struck a deal with a martial arts practitioner from the Bai family. Now, a couple of years had passed, and it was time to deliver the promised 10 true martial pills and see if he could buy the elixir pills needed by early-stage true power practitioners from the Bai family. You see, while he was planning to advance south to the passes in Bailiang, the old emperor was also preparing for foundation establishment. Both sides were racing against time. Chen Sansi had to focus on his cultivation to ensure that even if the advance failed, he would still have enough strength to keep Bailiang safe and then plan his next moves. Of course, this trip to the cultivation world wouldn't waste much time. In the next few days, he would break through to the middle stage of Qi refinement, at which point he could fly through the air. Once he returned from the cultivation world, Bailiang's march south could officially begin. Thinking thus, Chen Sansi carefully stored all the true martial pills, then started making the clear spirit pill, specifically designed to help cultivators break through from the early stage to the middle stage of Qi refining. All the raw materials had already been prepared in advance. The process of alchemy was already routine for him, It was merely a matter of first adding water, then spiritual grain, followed by other ingredients according to the heat, and finally combining elixir fire and transmitting mana into the pill furnace's formation while controlling the minute changes of the great Tao with divine sense. Making a previously unmade pill. As expected, he failed several times in succession. Fortunately, as his technique became more proficient, he eventually successfully made a clear spirit pill. Skill: Alchemy, first rank. Progress: 56 to 500. A long time ago, Chun Sansi was already a first-order alchemist. However, after that, continuing to make the same elixir didn't significantly increase his proficiency, but this was not something to be rushed. It could be done gradually. The clear spirit pills he previously acquired from other cultivators had run out. This one was the only one left. Chun Sansi placed it in his mouth, where it instantly turned into a stream of clean energy that flowed into his belly and then spread throughout his limbs. He closed his eyes and began to practice the swallowing fire technique. His fire spirit root, like a whirlpool, continuously drew in the spiritual energy within the cave mansion. After layers of refinement, it was then stored in the dantian. At this moment, inside Chun Sansi's dantian, there were already 3 wisps of mist representing spiritual power. Just as he was about to condense the 4th wisp, it would always disperse at a critical moment, as if there were an invisible shackle preventing a breakthrough. Only with the output of the clear spirit pill did the spiritual power become more solid, until he managed to gather the 4th wisp of mist. Crack! The invisible shackle opened, and he advanced in his cultivation realm. Cultivation technique. Swallowing fire technique. Chi refining 4th layer. Progress: 0/1200. Utility: mid-grade fire spirit root. At the moment of breakthrough, Chun Sansi's fire spirit root began to grow, as if it were a divine tree from the spirit world. Nourished excellently, visibly rising and becoming more lush with an increased number of branches and leaves. Chapter 711. Southern Expedition by Family_3. From lower grade spirit root, he broke through to mid-grade spirit root. He did not interrupt his cultivation, carefully experiencing the change in speed of practice, and found it was more than just a large leap forward. Mid-grade single spirit root, even if placed in any major sect, was enough to be an inner sect disciple, and based on this speed, the subsequent progress of swallowing fire technique might be much faster than the martial arts realm. Huff! After a long while, Chun Sansi finally reopened his eyes and slowly exhaled a breath of turbid air. Cultivation technique. Swallowing fire technique. Chi refining 4th layer. Progress: 20/1200. Magic: 1,000 swords descend from heaven. 2nd tier. Progress: 1155/2000. Spell: Thick Earth Decision mastered. Progress: 521/1000. Skill: Archery. Perfection: 3rd tier breakthrough. Progress: 1000/2000. During the recent period, while Chun Sansi was on his campaign in Yen State, he did not neglect the cultivation of various skills. He then took out an orange-yellow jade token from his bosom. This was the true talisman manual, left by soldier immortal Han Xiang. Inside it recorded the methods of drawing 4 types of first-rank talismans such as Great Strength Talisman, Divine Speed Talisman, Clone Talisman, and Wind Avoidance Talisman, which could largely be used to assist in combat. It was while carefully examining the ancient characters within the jade token. A long silent panel once again floated up. Skill: Reading, great success. Progress: 0/2000. Utility: Bodhi Enlightenment Mind. Bodhi Enlightenment Mind enhances comprehension. Chun Sansi looked at the true talisman manual again, understanding its contents even more deeply. He grasped how to operate them almost immediately after one look, and on the spot, he took out the materials left by Han Xiang and began to draw talismans. Special talisman paper, coupled with a talisman pen and blood-red special ink. In the beginning, there were still failures. Becoming a talismanic master, like alchemy, was not just about having enough comprehension to understand the operations. It also required sufficient divine sense. Fortunately, as an alchemist, Chun Sansi's sharpening of his divine sense was already outstanding, and in just a few days, he successfully drew one of each of the 4 types of talismans. Skill: Talisman Painting, 1st rank. Progress: 0/500. Utility: 1 breath. 1 breath. For talismans of the corresponding rank, as long as it is successful once, it can then be created in 1 breath without failing again. An additional identity obtained. A 1st-rank talismanic master. In the world of cultivation, 100 arts, especially the likes of pills, artifacts, talismans, and arrays, if one could master one of them, that would be enough to establish oneself in the cultivation world. But now, Chun Sansi learned almost everything at first try and did not have to spend years or even decades studying them like the cultivators would. Putting away everything, Chun Sansi picked up his long spear again and began to cultivate the dragon scripture. Unconsciously, it had already been half a year since he returned from Guandu, and naturally, his martial arts realm had also progressed. The fire-breathing technique was deployed, with bursts of fire element true power erupting out, turning into flames that wrapped around the long-den bright silver spear, transforming it into a blazing fiery dragon. swimming around in the cool and refreshing cave mansion. The temperature escalated abruptly, as if going from winter to the height of summer. With every breath, Chun Sansi accurately and infallibly absorbed the spiritual energy into his lungs, and then refined it continuously with the cultivation technique, circulating through the meridians in circulation, tempering the body. A white glow gradually lit up on the right side of his chest, starting from small specks to a white lantern, and then from the lantern into a blazing white sun. Jing Xin opened. The lung god. His real name is Suling. Word is Daoping, 8 inches and 1 fraction long, dressed in white. Among the central 8 scenic gods, 2 have now been awakened. Cultivation technique. Dragon scripture. True power early stage. Progress. 125 to 500. The speed is slow. Still a full count of 6 Jingshin needed to reach the true power middle stage. It seems a trip to Daisfang City is necessary. Silly girl. Chun Sansi came into the training room, knocked on her forehead and said, "Pack up. Get ready to leave." Speaking of Ning Xiang and Zhao Zhao, these 2 women had a surprisingly good talent for cultivation. Additionally, with Chun Sansi obtaining spare resources from the cultivators without stinginess, combined with various factors, they had even reached the qi refining 3rd layer. Ning Xiang was about to break through to the qi refining middle stage, while Zhao Zhao had just broken through to the qi refining 3rd layer. Before leaving, Chun Sansi made some arrangements. First, he drew several clone talismans and gave them to Ning Xiang. Every few days, Ning Xiang would activate one, letting Chun Sansi show up in the military camp. In addition, he summoned back Wei Xian and Song Guizhi to watch over the household. These 2 were now also cultivating next to the cave mansion and had both broken through to the true power early stage. With the enemy forces not yet fully deployed, overseeing the home was not a problem. After everything was arranged, Chun Sansi went to the Fufeng Pavilion to say goodbye to his family. In the courtyard, almost 4 years old now, Chun Due was again crying and whining because he had commanded his golden beast to play a prank that almost bit a maid in the house. Sister Lan scolded him, which led to his current state. As for the daughter, this girl was not very bold but well-behaved. Usually, besides reading and writing, she helped her mother with gardening and embroidery, and she got along very well with the golden beast. Sometimes her words were even more effective than Chun Due's. It was her timely call that stopped the golden beast from actually hurting the maid. And despite her small courage, she often went into the mountains to collect flowers and plants. "You little rascal." Chun Sansi hit his son and said, "If you boss people around and bully anyone in the house at will, watch out or I'll throw you up in the mountains to feed the big worms. Forget it. Wait for me to finish up with this period, and I will properly discipline you. Cece, take care of your brother, and if he causes trouble again, feel free to teach him a lesson." Chapter 712. Southern Expedition by Family_4. "Dad, don't be angry. I'll take good care of my little brother," Chun Yunshi said in a soft voice. "Right?" Chun Sansi suddenly remembered something. "Have you seen Mr. Mei recently?" Chun Yunshi shook her head. "All right then." Chun Sansi didn't ask any further. He still didn't understand how to use that strand of power inside the Xianzhu. It seemed he had to slowly figure it out on his own. Speaking of which, ever since he began his military campaign and took control of the 3 states, the mystical energy within the Xianzhu had increased at an astonishing rate. After accumulating for some more time, he would definitely be able to use stronger formations from the heavenly book. After checking on the child, Chun Sansi returned to the back mountain, waved his hand, and took out a flying artifact in the shape of a tree leaf from the storage ring. Then he made sealing with his hands and injected mana into it. The artifact immediately burst into spirit light and hovered in the air. It was his first time controlling an object to fly, and at first it was bumpy, nearly tumbling the little fool from the sky several times. But in just a short span of a tea time he had mastered this skill. Skill: controlling the sky, entry level. Progress: 0/500. Utility: unceasing flying. Unceasing flying greatly reduces the mana consumption caused by controlling the sky flight. Controlling a magic artifact to fly also requires the consumption of mana. With the effect of the entry, he could completely reduce the number of times he needed to rest, thereby shortening the round-trip time once again. Chun Sansi had carefully calculated that, with such a large-scale military deployment, the court would be able to gather troops and horses only after his return, and then the war would truly begin. Central Plains. Prince Junnan, Ling Yun, Daoxian Wanderer, and Li He, a total of 4 people, were still in the process of conscripting troops and horses, this time against the rebel army of Bailiang. The court mobilized a total of 400,000 soldiers, and including the conscripted civilians, there were 1 million, essentially drawing from most of the Central Plains military forces. Of course, it wasn't just for dealing with Bailiang. They also had to dispatch troops to fight Dongqing. The forces finally gathered at Chuanqiu Prefecture would probably be about 200,000. But that would be 1 to 2 months later. They haven't all arrived yet. Only the 4 cultivators had come to the rear first, beginning to arrange deployments in advance and waiting for the official expedition. That Chun Sansi is quite difficult to deal with. After carefully learning about White Robe's military achievements in the Eastern continent, Ling Yun felt a bit uneasy. This person was able to slay 10,000 enemies without exhausting his power even in the transcendent realm. Now that he's in the true power realm, wouldn't that mean he can kill 20,000? In the Great Thousand World, whether it's magic cultivation or martial cultivation, who doesn't exhaust their power? The four of us must not separate. Dao Xian said in a grave tone. Together we live, divided we die. We must cooperate fully to slay this fiend. Swoosh! In the midst of their conversation, a high Dongxing flew into the camp. Soon after, a soldier came to report. Your Highness, the Bailiang rebel army is gathering outside Qilin Mountain, and they have sent out a large number of troops to repair the mountain trail that the Chuanxiu prefecture garrison had burnt down in advance. Prince Chao Rong's pupils darkened, as he took the battle report to read it himself, then crushed it into powder, saying word by word, "Good timing! Ends of the earth." Nowadays there were wars everywhere. Even though Chun Sansi was flying through the sky, he encountered other sect cultivators several times on the way, but mostly managed to evade them. The only encounters he couldn't avoid ended with him being forced to slay them, take their storage bags, and burn their bodies to ashes with a fire. The island was exceptionally quiet. After several explorations by Chun Sansi and confirming there were no dangers, he entered the Sky Water continent through the ancient transmission array. He discarded the identity of Zhang Laizi and randomly changed to an ordinary and unremarkable face, then smeared a bit on the little fool's face, changing her face as well, although it wasn't very significant. Right after, Chun Sansi didn't delay and went directly to the black market in Lake Heart Island of Daysfang City, finding the same small cabin with a sign outside that read, "We buy used magic artifacts," where he had bought the swallowing fire technique last time. Hee. Inside the cabin, the mysterious merchant with a mask let out an ambiguous laugh. "Taoist, what would you like to exchange for?" "I have some used magic artifacts, possibly in a large quantity," Chun Sansi asked. "Can you handle them?" "Taoist, you must be joking." The masked man was about to speak when he suddenly stopped, because he saw the black-robed cultivator in front of him pour out a table full of magic artifacts from his storage bag. So many that he was momentarily unable to clearly discern them. His pupils under the mask clearly trembled. Then he abruptly stood up. Chun Sansi repeated, "How about it? Can you take them?" The masked cultivator quickly got up, opened the cabin window, and looked outside for a long time to make sure no one was around before turning back and saying, "Who are you, sir? Could it be that you have wiped out an entire sect?" His heart was greatly shaken. Honestly, everyone knew what went on in the black market. The so-called used magic artifacts and elixir pills were nothing more than gains from cultivators fighting and slaying each other or from robbery cultivators who looted and killed for profit, brought to the black market for discreet handling. In plain terms, there wasn't really any good person here. But Duan Silu, who had mixed in the black market for many years, had never seen anyone bring in such a large quantity of items to sell. Chun Sansi just showed the items for a short, while before swiftly putting everything back into the storage bag. "Do you want it or not?" "Yes, of course." Duan Silu began to count each item carefully. A low-grade flying sword, 10 spirit stones for recycling. A low-grade magic tool golden blade, recycling price. After the last check, there were dozens of artifacts worth a total of 1,000 spirit stones, and the transaction was settled on the spot. Chapter 713. Southern Expedition by Family_5. After leaving the black market, Chun Sansi changed his appearance again and, with a large amount of spirit stones, arrived at the commercial district of Daysfang City. He had just entered the street when he saw wanted posters and portraits of himself plastered everywhere. Wanted, Chun Sansi. Reward mission, 100-year residence rights to a high-grade cave mansion. Foundation establishment spiritual objects, 5,000 low-grade spirit stones. Mission location, Eastern Continent. Realm requirement, Qi refining 12th layer and above, martial arts true power and above, extra rewards for those who have led troops in war in the mortal world. It wasn't just Chun Sansi himself. Even his senior brothers and sisters were listed, albeit with comparatively pitiful reward amounts that hardly anyone gave a second glance. The entire sect was being targeted. Moreover, this couldn't be said to be a disaster left by Master. Some things were simply unavoidable. Originally, if Master hadn't timely sealed the ancestor vein at the ends of the earth, the high realm cultivators would immediately control the entire eastern continent after breaking the heaven and earth seal. By then, not to mention the spiritual grain in the peasants' fields would directly change from 10% to 50%. Even the old emperor himself would not escape the fate of becoming a puppet, forever controlled. Everyone would live under the rule of the immortals. Chun Sansi also needed to find a way to rent a spiritual vein cave mansion and live cautiously, which meant that everything would go back to the way it was when he had first left Pyong. He would have to retrace the path he had come, fraught not only with difficulties but also with tremendous risks. Maintaining the status quo on the eastern continent was immensely beneficial for him, the common people, and even the continent's enemies. Furthermore, this great war among various countries was also instigated by the cultivation world. While they sought to fight for control over spirit veins, they directed the mortals of the continent to the battlefield to die. Just like how Han Xiang treated his soldiers as chess pieces, to the high realm immortals, the billions of souls on the eastern continent were simply their pawns. including Chun Sansi himself. He had been prepared for the wanted order and wasn't surprised by it. At this point, it was a matter of confronting the soldiers with generals and stemming the water with earth. It just meant he had to be even more diligent in his cultivation. As long as the heaven and earth seal remained intact, and he could reach the middle stage or even late stage of the true power realm, there would be no need to fear the high realm cultivators in the cultivation world. After a brief glimpse, he entered the 100 treasure tower to purchase items. Firstly, he bought large quantities of materials for elixir pills and talismans, spending a total of 200 spirit stones. Then, it was high-grade magic weapons, golden bow and silver bullet, also worth 200 spirit stones. Since it wasn't easy to make the trip, Chun Sansi was reluctant to leave immediately. He continued to browse the shops, seeing if he could find any other items he needed. Regrettably, he couldn't find the martial arts elixir he needed. Weapons suitable for the true power realm were available, but he didn't lack them. His master's legacy, the Longdan bright silver spear, was a growth-type mystical weapon, which only needed additional materials to enhance its tier for continued use. However, after leaving the 100 treasure tower, another shop caught Chun Sansi's attention. 10,000 Beast Building. As the name implies, this was a place where spiritual pets were sold. All sorts of spiritual pets, kept in cages with restrictions, were available for people to pick and purchase. Chun Sansi had not yet developed any beast taming skill, so he didn't mind buying another spiritual pet to raise. After all, he had his own spirit vein. Soon enough, his gaze settled on a small white snake. Spiritual Jade White Snake. Second tier potential. Price: 400 spirit stones. Snake-type spiritual beasts were always prime materials for making bows and arrows. This spiritual Jade White Snake, in particular, is recorded as such. The snake tendon could be used for bowstrings, snake bone for weapons, and even the snake skin and scales for crafting defensive magical artifacts. All of its body was a treasure. Furthermore, an adult, spiritual Jade White Snake was incredibly difficult to find in the forest, a rare occurrence over decades. Coming from a hunter's background, Chun Sansi instinctively assessed the white snake's value and had not seen a second-tier bow at the 100 treasure tower. The thought of making early preparations crossed his mind. If he raised one himself, it would be quite a bargain to dismantle it later. With these thoughts, he made the purchase. After buying the items, Chun Sansi settled down in a tea house by himself and sent the little dummy to the fish and dragon collection to see if Bai Linshuan of the martial arts family, the Bai family, was there. Meanwhile, he strolled about, inquiring about the Bai family. The number of martial arts practitioners in the Skywater continent was few, with only a handful of sects possessing legacies for martial arts realms beyond the basics. Martial arts families were even rarer. The Bai family was one of them. The Bai family's dwelling was not far from Daisfang City. Located within Dusk Valley 500 li away, they occupied a first-rank top-grade spirit vein, where spiritual energy was thick, barely less than that of a second tier. Once upon a time, the Bai family was extremely prosperous in the area. The family's old ancestor was a true power late-stage martial artist. The family itself boasted as many as 5 true power middle-stage martial artists at one time, suppressing the other major families in the vicinity from raising their heads. However, it was said to have gradually declined over recent years. Although still guarded by a true power late-stage elder ancestor, the family was experiencing a generation gap, with no one to take up the mantle for the time being. Therefore, many were starting to covet the Bai family's precious land. In the cultivation world, spirit veins are the most precious resource. They hold a significance for cultivators akin to that of fertile fields for farmers. Just as mortals would starve without fields to grow crops, cultivators without spiritual energy for cultivation are like fish without water. Chapter 714. Southern Expedition by Family_6. Ordinary cultivators could only rely on renting cave mansions or serving a sect to obtain the spiritual energy needed for cultivation. But if a cultivator could monopolize a spirit vein and possess enough power, they could protect and nurture their family, and even establish a sect and build their own sect. Just like Chun Sansi right now. In his hands he held a top-grade spirit vein, and it was even mobile so it could be taken anywhere, used at any time, and with enough resources, he could completely cultivate a batch of magic cultivators and even martial cultivators. Such a treasure, one didn't know where the old master had gotten it from. These were not urgent matters for the time being. Speaking of the Bai family, at its peak, they offended many families and had many enemies, including the Li family who was currently hunting for Chun Sansi. Now, seeing the imminent decline of the Bai family, they were ready to kick them while they were down. No wonder the Bai family, albeit a great one, was being marginalized to the point of stealthily setting up a stall at the fish and dragon collection, without even a shop of their own. In that case, he and the Bai family indeed had a common enemy. But one must always be wary of others. Chun Sansi's name was tied to the title of guardian, and he had offended more than just a few families. Behind them were sects as well, and no one knew if the Bai family would trade news of him for benefits. He ordered a cup of spiritual tea and, while waiting for the news, began toying with the spiritual Jade White Snake. The snake was still young, only as thick as a finger and a few inches long, and a cool and delicate touch twined around his hand. Chun Sansi squeezed out a drop of essence blood and fed it to the mouth of the white snake. After going through a specific process, the blood bond was successfully established. Skill: Beast Taming, Entry Level. Progress 0/500. Utility. Ancestor return. Ancestor return. Any spiritual beast brought under control can, with the advancement of cultivation realms, awaken hidden bloodlines within their bodies to continuously evolve. For both spiritual beasts and the demon clan, bloodline is the foundation of their strength. For example, a common tiger that cultivated for 1,000 years might not be able to compare to a divine beast that cultivated for 100 years. Bloodline, therefore, is equivalent to the cultivation talent of a spiritual beast. Previously, it had been clearly written in the shop that his spiritual jade white snake possessed second-tier potential, which meant it was challenging for it to climb beyond the second tier. But with the addition of the ancestor return attribute, the situation was vastly different. If the white snake had a superior ancestor vein bloodline, it could go much further. This was akin to a cultivation method improving spirit root talent, indeed a terrifying effect. If it weren't for the fact that each cultivator's blood-bonded spiritual beast was limited by their realm, Chen Sansi would have liked to raise several spiritual beasts. But having too many was useless. First, because they required resources to be nurtured, and second, because they needed time to grow and couldn't be used immediately. They were only good for leisure at the moment. With the effect of ancestor return, he felt somewhat reluctant to use them merely as materials. Not long after, Zhao Zhao brought back the news. I found it for you. A meeting is set up where you suggested. 2 hours later, at the ancient transmission array, Chen Sansi waited for the arrival of Bai Linxuan from the Bai family. He had chosen this place for the meetup precisely to prevent any unexpected incidents. For instance, if the other party betrayed him, he could use the ancient transmission array to quickly leave the location. As long as he got back to the ends of the earth, no matter how many magic cultivators came after him, he could kill them all. Brother Chen, long time no see. Bai Linxuan greeted him with a fist and palm salute. Shortly after their last separation, the incident in Days Fong City's murder had occurred. Then, he also learned that this man was a disciple of Guiqi and is now at loggerheads with various sects in the eastern continent, essentially making an enemy of the entire cultivation world. Brother Chen, Bai Linxuan explained, you don't need to be nervous. I am indeed aware of your situation, but it has nothing to do with my Bai family, and I would definitely not betray you. It's been nearly 3 years since we last met. Chen Sansi took out a storage bag filled with elixir pills. Here are the true martial pills you custom ordered last time. 10 of them, all top grade. After checking them over, Bai Linxuan expressed his admiration. Taoist's alchemy skills are truly extraordinary. I believe that as long as you have enough pill recipes, you will surely break through to become a second-tier alchemist. He said this as he paid the balance. Chen Sansi counted the amount in turn and then asked, by the way, Taoist, your Bai family is a martial arts family. You must have elixir pills that help martial cultivators at the early stage of the true power realm improve their cultivation. Could you sell me some? We do have them, but... Bai Linxuan's tone shifted. Brother Chen, why pursue resources so desperately? Why not join my Bai family in Dusk Valley as a patron? Rather than buying elixir pills, my Bai family can provide you with other resources as well. A patron? Chen Sansi inquired. Brother Bai, your Bai family has a late-stage clan leader. Why would you need someone at the early stage of the true power realm like me? Sigh. Bai Linxuan sighed. To tell you the truth, my Bai family is currently in dire need of a reliable alchemist, and you have the potential and are a man of your word, so we truly wish to invite Brother Chen. As long as you agree, my Bai family can directly use resources to nurture you into a second-tier alchemist, and even provide you with true power realm pill recipes. Chen Sansi joked. Brother Bai, did you not see that there are wanted posters of me all over Days Fong City? How can the Bai family dare to shelter me? Can't you just change your appearance and hide? Bai Linxuan said. I can see that your skill in disguising is unfathomable. As long as you're careful and my Bai family keeps the secret, who would know that you're in Dusk Valley? Chen Sansi nodded. It seemed that the Bai family was truly in a difficult situation, otherwise they wouldn't be so anxious. He declined. It's not that I'm unwilling, but I truly cannot. Bailiang is waiting for me to return for battle, so naturally, I cannot stay here. I still hope Brother Bai can sell some elixir pills to me at market price. Fine then. Bai Linxuan, having heard of the situation in the eastern continent and knowing the other couldn't get away, thought for a moment and then took out a storage bag. Brother Chen, here are 2 Tai Ching pills. They should be enough to help increase your cultivation speed. Before Chen Sansi could ask about the price, he said, no need for spirit stones, it's a gift for Taoist. Not only does it contain Tai Ching pills, but there are also some pill recipes for first-rank elixirs and many materials, all given freely to Taoist. I only ask for one thing. After you become a second-tier alchemist, visit my Dusk Valley. Even if you only help out for a while before leaving. Brother Bai, Chen Sansi asked, how can you be so sure that after taking the items, I will come back to help you? Because my Bai family has resources for martial arts cultivation. Bai Linxuan said bluntly. And Brother Chen is naturally a reliable ally against both the Li family and the various sects, being mortal enemies. It seems having many enemies has its advantages too. Chen Sansi found this interesting. I'll do what I can. How's that? Good. Bai Linxuan nodded emphatically. It's a promise then. Chapter 7:15 Bailiang King. Since it involves measuring what you can and cannot do, it's not good to take things from others for free anymore. Chen Sansi asked about the price again. Brother Chun is so unwilling to take advantage of others, which further proves you are an honest man. Bai Linxuan didn't dwell on it anymore. How about this, after the elixir pills inside are refined, you give me half, that way, I won't be at a loss. As for the Fu General Iron Armor inside, which is first-rank defensive armor, I'll charge you 200 spirit stones for it. We can just offset the cost later. How does that sound? Originally, he did indeed have the thought of having the other party owe him a favor for future moral leverage, but it was also not good to force it, otherwise it would be counterproductive. No problem. Chen Sansi agreed. It was a common affair for the one commissioning the refinement of elixir pills to supply the raw materials. It was a pure trade that made one feel at ease. Brother Chun, until we meet again. Bai Linxuan clasped his fists. The two exchanged bows and took their leave. After returning to Tianyasi through the Jade Token, first the little dummy sailed the ship across the foggy sea, and then he flew through the sky, heading back in the direction of Liangzhou. On the way, he had the chance to open the storage bag given by the other party and, after a careful look, couldn't help but be slightly surprised. Is the Bai family so wealthy? Inside, just the raw materials for the true martial pills numbered near 100 portions, the ingredients for nourishing essence pills exceeded 200 portions, and the materials for the clear spirit pills were dozens in number, not to mention other first-rank pill recipe materials. It was truly a fortune. No wonder so many people had their eyes on the Bai family. In the end, there was the armor Bai Linxuan mentioned, the Fu General Iron Armor. This set of armor was ink black throughout, made of mixed element Xian iron, with dense runes engraved on its surface, spanning the entire body. The hard metal and the intricately detailed and clever design combined to form an imposing and solemn aura. Beneath the helmet there was also a fierce, murderous mask. The whole set of armor lay in the storage space, clearly brand new, yet exuding an ancient and heavy aura. According to Bai Linxuan, this armor was specially crafted for martial artists, capable of accommodating true power from any of the 5 elements, with defensive power comparable to a first-rank talisman. It was indeed a substantial item. Since leaving Lai State, Chen Sansi seldom wore armor anymore because ordinary armor offered limited use for high-realm martial artists. It could even hinder their agility. However, the armor from the cultivation world wouldn't have this problem. He gathered his thoughts and concentrated on flying. This procurement trip turned out to be extraordinarily smooth, without any delay. The round trip, just a little over a month. Chen Sansi had returned to the territory of Liangzhou. All military affairs, provisions, and so on were being managed in an orderly fashion. After Su Wenkai came back, it indeed saved him a lot of trouble. Previously, the vast majority of governmental and military matters required Chen Sansi to handle personally, which greatly affected his cultivation. After tossing the little dummy back to the governor mansion, he went straight to the central army tent. It was the hour of 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., with the sky slightly lit up. Upon arriving at the military camp, Chen Sansi saw that Su Wencai's tent still had candlelight burning, as if he had not slept all night. He lifted the tent curtain. The commander has returned. Su Wencai looked up from the pile of documents and petitions, then hurriedly stood up to salute. I greet the commander. What salute do you owe me? Chen Sansi went straight to the point. How have things been recently? Everything is almost ready. We should be able to start the campaign in 20 days. Su Wencai pointed to the petitions on the table, reporting in detail. With the commander being busy, I have taken the liberty to make decisions on many matters on your behalf, but there are also key issues that I've marked. I hope you can personally review them when you have time. Additionally, an immortal master led by a eunuch came from King Jin Chao Huan's side, saying they want to reward the commander. Reward me? Chen Sansi paused. Continue. It's a long story. Su Wencai invited the man in the white robe to sit down. Then by the map, he said, ever since the kings of Jin and Yen took General Feng hostage, they have started spreading rumors in the southern, saying the current emperor is dedicated to cultivating and had long intended to abdicate in favor of King Jin. So, Prince Qin assassinated King Jin and then took advantage of the emperor's seclusion, unaware of the outside world, and along with the Yen party, took control of the government, even intending to commit patricide and regicide. King Jin raised an army to rescue his father and purify the court. Not only that, they also imitated us in Bailiang, eradicating all spiritual grain wherever they went and proclaimed that Bailiang was not a rebel army, but under King Jin's command, loyal ministers of the great Shang dynasty. Now, it can be said, the world's heart returns to Jin. One should not underestimate the influence of the teachings of the saint of the Confucian school on the world, nor the number of loyal ministers that the Shang dynasty had been nurturing for 300 years under the whole sky. Moreover, the matter of abdication, with the emperor in seclusion, looked increasingly like a truth. This rhetoric directly elevated King Jin to a figure of destiny, quickly garnering a vast amount of public support. Not long ago, Su Wencai had talked about the grand strategy of a 10-year plan, but that also required a full 10 years to gradually deplete the fortunes of the Dashing dynasty in warfare. But now, everything has just begun. The fortunes of the Dashing dynasty have yet to fade. Chen Sansi took a sip of tea from his cup, poured by Wulong disciple Qicheng, and asked, so, in your opinion, should I accept this reward or not? There are pros and cons. Su Wenkai continued. The commander is already a state duke, and the only promotion beyond that is to become an aliased king. The title of king is not only useful for the commander's future but also greatly aids the swift decision the commander wishes for. Chapter 716 Bailiang King _2. By invoking the name of King of Bailiang to move south, we only need to win 1 or 2 key battles to make all places in the world submit without a trace of resistance. As for the defect, nominally, my lord is still a Shangchen. Only now he has become part of King Jin's faction and no longer flies the banner of the capital city, but rather that of King Jin. Overall, I would suggest to the commander that he could accept the title and reward. Chen Sansi nodded slightly. The old scholar was right. His original intention was to fight quickly and make haste towards the capital Chang'an, while the court's vitality still lingered, anticipating much resistance. If time permitted, he could gradually erode it. But what Chen Sansi lacked most was time. Either way, he would reach the capital first and then decide. Thinking this, he put down his teacup. Let King Jin's envoy come. Shortly afterward, a python-robe eunuch came into the tent, bowed with fists closed, then took out an orange-yellow scroll, and did not hurry to read, seeming to wait for something. However, the one in the white robe remained seated in his commander's chair, showing no intention of rising to pay respects. According to the norms of the Great Shang dynasty, it wasn't necessary to perform the full kowtow for a regent crown prince's edict, but one still had to kneel on one knee as a mark of respect. Eunuch Zhao. Su Wenkai spoke up. My commander is busy with military affairs. Please do not delay. Oh haha. Eunuch Zhao laughed awkwardly, not daring to hold his posture any longer, and boisterously read aloud. Today, treacherous courtiers rule, causing chaos and violence, making the world in turmoil, with people unable to sustain their lives. King Jin Chaohuan is thus commanded in a crisis to endow 6 divisions, rallying with righteousness and timeliness, to pacify the society. Special hereby, Chen Sansi in the white robe of Liangzhou is appointed as King of Liang, commanding the troops of the Northern Territory, moving south to suppress the rebels and stabilize the world. King of Bailiang, aliased king. In the Great Shang dynasty, not only afterward but even from the founding, no matter how great the achievements, there had never been an aliased king. In just a few years, the one in the white robe had come from a minor military officer to King of Bailiang, a truly astonishing rise. I accept the decree. Please thank His Highness King Jin for me. Chen Sansi said with courtesy before issuing his dismissal. I have military affairs to address, so I shall not keep Eunuch Zhao any longer. Then we hope that the Lord will soon dispatch troops south to enter the pass, and His Highness will support from the south, striving to stabilize the world quickly. After Eunuch Zhao spoke, he departed under the escort of a cultivator soaring through the sky. Longqing 76th year, 12th month, 12th day. King Jin Chaohuan officially appointed the white robe of Liangzhou as King of Bailiang, controlling the forces of the Northern Territory, proclaiming to all under heaven. From then on, officially standing in opposition to the court, referring to each other as rebels. Another year's cold December in the Northern Territory sees its usual vast snowfall. The Bailiang Iron Cavalry was also on the eve of its expedition. In the martial arts arena, stirring military music was played. Just like initially in Qing country when the Qing song had moved the soldiers, naturally, Bailiang also had its own song. Music performances were not merely for entertainment in pleasure houses. If used properly, they could not only enhance the solidarity and comfort of the troops but also boost morale and inspire fighting spirit, which is the essence of military music. Before this, Bailiang had its tunes, but not a fixed military music. The current military music was proposed by Chen Sansi, but as he was not versed in music, the specific content was tinkered by Fang Qingyun and Su Wenkai. Since the uprising 2 years ago, Su Wenkai personally established it as the Bailiang military music to increase cohesion, called Bailiang Breaking Formation Music. This tune was played by thousands of soldiers interested in musical instruments, including the eru, pipa, bamboo flute, shakuhachi, suona, battle drums, etc., creating a majestic, uplifting, and grand symphony. Chen Sansi proposed building military music not just for its superficial impact but as practice for the formations from the Miracle Soldier's Heavenly Book. Among them, a formation called Resplendent Spirit Suppressive Soul Formation required great music. However, since the specific scores and instruments needed were not recorded, they had to experiment. He ascended the high platform, watching soldiers arranged according to different directions, sensing the response from the Shenju in his storage ring, discovering it indeed could be used, but the quantity of mystical energy in the Shenju was still insufficient. The Heavenly Book stated, the soul-suppressing song could directly destroy divine souls in a super formation, naturally consuming vast amounts of mystical energy. Currently, even if he could set it up, there wouldn't be enough mystical energy. The formations in the Heavenly Book relied either on nature's spiritual energy or required mystical energy to perform, with more energy yielding greater power. Since Chen Sansi had effectively controlled the northern 3 states, mystical energy had accumulated faster. Continuing at this pace, he would eventually be able to unleash more powerful formations, such as the 18 Ming Thunder Rolling Formation at Silver Pine Cliff of Hulao, which initially could summon only a few divine thunders, but with sufficient mystical energy, could continuously strike. or those enigmatic formations that could truly cause anomalies in heaven and earth, drawing stars to strike the land. In that sense, this uprising was indeed timely. With the expansion of controlled territories, the military formations Chen Sansi could utilize would grow stronger. After the grand and moving, Bailiang-breaking formation music finished, the grand plan to march south officially began. The Bailiang army now possessed the Vermilion Bird Camp, Azure Dragon Camp, Sky Wolf Camp, Jinbiao Camp, North Prefecture Camp, Heavenly Strategy Camp, Great Halberd Camp, Anshan Camp, and Hongza Camp, 9 major camps, in addition to local garrison troops from Yu State and Yen State that had surrendered, totaling up to 180,000 troops. Chapter 717 Bailiang King _3. Among them, the Heavenly Strategy Camp and the Yen State Guards troops still held Swordgate Canyon with a small force, a place easy to defend and difficult to attack. Before this, West Qi had suffered heavy losses for several years, and after being pushed back to Ming State by the White Robe, they completely gave up on Bailiang and turned their full force to attack the Mang Mountain Ancestor Vein. The remaining 150,000 troops were all deployed outside Qilin Mountain. Day and night they rushed to repair the plank roads, giving off the impression of preparing to attack Chuanqiu Prefecture with all their might. The southern conquest had officially begun. Capital City, Zhongjua Hall. Prince Qin and the others were almost constantly dealing with battle reports from all directions. Fortunately, the vast majority were reports of victory. Reports of victory from Elder Mo and Immortal Su in the south. 3,000 enemies slain. 2 generals cut down. The southern territories completely recovered. Continued victories at Mang Mountain Ancestor Vein under the leadership of General Tong Xiaochu and Patriarch of the Ling family, with over 10,000 enemies killed. Commander Jiang Yuanhua and the Immortal Master of Shenyun Sect successfully contained Dongqing's assault outside of Tongnan Prefecture near Lai State. Excellent, excellent. Prince Qi was greatly pleased and repeatedly praised the current Minister of War. Old Mu is truly worthy of being a man who stepped out alongside Sun Xiangzong. Under your deployment, you have steadied the situation in less than half a year. Mu Fengchun had always been known as the poisonous scholar. He was most skilled at manipulating poison schemes. After the chaos broke out in the world, he was urgently appointed as the Minister of War, using poison schemes to sow discord among people time and again. If it were not somewhat unsavory to say, he could be called a great master of the military family's poisonous path. Hehe. Old Mu simply said with a smile that was not quite a smile. I'm but a candle flickering in the wind, having the honor to serve the court loyally is my own fortune. Your Highness, there is news from Bailiang. After a series of relentless reports of victory, a voice with a clearly different tone than before arose. A guard came into the hall in a fluster. Not long ago, King Jin proclaimed to have an abdication decree and then crowned Chen Sansi as Bailiang's alias king. Now, Chen Sansi has gathered an army of 150,000 in the northern territory, deployed at Qilin Mountain to rush repairs on the plank road, preparing to attack Chuanqiu Prefecture, and advance southward into the central plains. Upon hearing this, the officials who had just breathed a sigh of relief tensed up again. White Robe, Chen Sansi, 150,000 troops. Everyone clearly knew what these 3 terms combined meant. Absurd. Prince Qin thundered with rage. When the nation was founded, Grand Ancestor made it very clear with the generals of the Qilin army. Any non-Chao who claims kingship shall be condemned by all under heaven. When has the great Shang dynasty ever had an alias king? This empire is the Chao family's empire. To scheme for the throne, he has gone to extremes, utterly detestable. Compared to his anger, Prince Qi was more worried. Old Mu, Mr. Yen, since Chen Sansi joined the army, he has never faced a defeat. He once broke through Nan Su's 100,000 strong with 3,000 black armor at Hu Lao Pass. Now he has 150,000 troops at hand. Should he truly manage to break through, what then? Prince Qi, do not panic. Fixing his gaze on the sand table, Old Mu calmed the emotions of all the officials. I have considered many strategies from Bailiang's perspective, such as cooperating with Dongqing, or lying low in Bailiang for 10 years to gather strength. But attacking Chuanqiu Prefecture is a sure path to death. Old Mu is correct. Prince Qin, himself skilled in martial arts and once a military commander until his military power was taken away by the former crown prince, now fully engaged in governance, looked at the Chuanqiu Prefecture on the sand table. I think Chen Sansi is cornered like a desperate dog. Unless he can lead the Bailiang army to fly over from the sky, he should just wait to die at Qilin Mountain. As for his expertise in warfare, why would he make such a blunder this time? The reason is simple. He is afraid of my father the Emperor. The day my father emerges from seclusion, it will be the end for all traitors in chaos. Emperor Longqing, still in seclusion, became everyone's anchor of stability. Exactly. The White Robe is in a panic. When people panic, they make mistakes, or rather, he knew very well that this was a bad move, but he had no choice but to make it. Prince Qin continued. So it's inevitable that he makes a foolish move. Everybody need not worry. All we need to do is ensure the supply of provisions, and then simply wait for the good news from my 9th brother. The officials gradually settled down. But in the corner, Old Mu, the Minister of War who had initially remained most calm and collected, was now staring intently at the sand table with an increasingly grave expression. A commander must avoid showing emotions imprudently. As the former top strategist under Sun Xiangzong, how could he not understand? In fact, Old Mu was feeling uneasy. Could it really be as Prince Qin said? Was Chun Sansi afraid? Did he fear the emperor emerging with the Dragon Abyss sword in hand, personally going to Liangzhou, and was thus forced into a desperate move? That was a possibility, a significant one. But the numerous instances of unexpected victories forced Old Mu to take it seriously, and to consider, if he were in Chan Sansi's shoes, how would he seize Chuanqiu Prefecture? A fortress nearly impossible to break. Chuanqiu Prefecture. This city was built against the mountain, practically stretching across the narrow canyon, effectively blocking Liangzhou's passageway, and thus known as the Iron Lock of the Northern Territory, the gateway to the Central Plains. Ling Yun, Dao Xian, Prince Zhen Nan, Li He, along with 200,000 troops of the Central Plains Army, were all gathered here now. Inside the Central Army tent, Prince Chao Rong looked gravely at the map before him. Report. A soldier came in to report. The Bailiang army of 150,000 strong is arrayed outside of Qilin Mountain, rushing to repair the plank road day and night, almost regardless of the cost. Chapter 718 Bailiang King _4. Humph. Hearing this, Li He snorted coldly. I will personally lead a few Taoist friends to destroy the trail. If they repair it once, we'll just destroy it again, ensuring they can never leave Qilin Mountain. No! Prince Chao Rong raised his hand to veto. Let them come over. This, Ling Yun cautioned. Isn't that ill-advised? There's nothing ill-advised about it. Dao Xian discerned the other party's intention. Chao Daoyu is planning to let them in and lure them into attacking the city and meeting their deaths. Our walls at Chuanqiu Prefecture are high and solid, and the supply line from the rear is secure. I've also set up formations on the walls. Even if they get past Qilin Mountain, what then? Not to mention 150,000 troops. Even if there were 300,000, they wouldn't be able to shake us. We just need to hold out for a few months. Dongqing next door will certainly become restless, moving to attack and occupy Liangzhou. Then, they'll find themselves caught between a rock and a hard place. Any slight mistake in their panic will lead to their downfall at our hands. Chao Daoyu, is my analysis correct? Prince Chao Rong, a man of few words, did not respond, implicitly agreeing. Hee. Dao Xian, stroking his beard, chuckled. It seems I do have some talent for leading troops after all. You should hurry and finalize the formations. Prince Chao Rong, unsmiling, dragged a broadsword thick as a palm with no sharp edge, slowly stepped out of the watchtower, and ascended the city walls, his gaze full of killing intent towards the distant Qilin Mountain. This hatred, the grudge for cutting off the path to martial arts was, for him, even deeper than the bloody vendetta for killing his parents. One Chun Sansi, one Fang Qingyun, these two men, this time on the campaign, even if it costs my life, even if the mountain pass is left undefended, I will fight to the death to kill them. In the midst of blizzards, the path over Qilin Mountain was finally repaired. Leading as the vanguard, Chun Sansi, with troops from the Hongza camp along with a portion of the Great Halberd camp totaling 20,000 soldiers, crossed the mountain pass one after another without encountering any obstructions or hindrances. That's odd. Song Guizhi, following close by, said. At first, their cultivators would come every day to release spells, destroy the pass and then flee. Why have they suddenly turned a blind eye and stopped caring? Because it's intentional. Wulong disciple Qi Cheng explained. They are confident that we cannot take Chuanqiu Prefecture in a short time, so they want to entice us in deeper. Once our rear is exposed, Dongqing will certainly take advantage of the void. When we want to retreat, they'll cut off the mountain pass, trapping us to die within the embrace of Qilin Mountain. Humph! Wei Xian snorted coldly. I'd like to see if they are really as tough as they believe. He and his wife had both broken through to the true power realm, possessing valuable combat strength. Moreover, in several large and small battles, they had proven themselves desperate fighters and had become candidates for important roles. If I may be so bold as to ask General Wei a question, Qi Cheng respectfully said. I heard that General Wei only met our Bailiang King once, and that it was merely some transactions, plus you are not from this world. You want to ask why I am fighting for Brother Chen? Wei Xian saw him assent and touched his beard, smiling. Back at Guandu, Brother Chen led us to fight desperately, and instead of support, your court stabbed us in the back and even tried to move against him. I couldn't stand it, so I decided to lend a hand. As for later, there wasn't much reason. I just enjoyed helping Brother Chen eliminate spiritual grain. It made me feel good. He learned martial arts as a youth with the Zhongs with 7 heroes and later with various great heroes, spending half his life in Jianghu and comprehending the true essence of the greatest heroes serve their country and their people. Afterwards, he took to guarding cities, living a life of heroism and justice. But after going to the cultivation world, Wei Xian no longer had the capacity to act as a hero. He had watched cultivators torment and murder ordinary people for amusement and seen sects force commoners to plant half their fields with spiritual grain. But he could only watch, which was utterly depressing. Not until after arriving in the eastern continent did he see someone extract spiritual grain from the fields and kill a Shangyun sect disciple. Only then did he realize In this great thousand world, there was a place where someone was rebelling. Wei Xian, knowing that he had no hope of advancing beyond true power in his last decades of life, decided he and his wife would use their remaining bodies to do what heroes are supposed to do. So that's how it is. Qi Cheng nodded thoughtfully, surprised to find that there were people in the world who acted purely for righteousness. The 20,000 of the vanguard army crossed the mountain pass of Qilin Mountain within 10 days and set up camp at the easily defended but hard-to-assault base of the mountain. Whole army, follow me to attack the city. At Chun Sanxi's command. Chuanqiu Prefecture. Atop the city walls. The news of the Bailiang army crossing Qilin Mountain quickly reached here. Report. Chun Sanxi himself is leading the vanguard army. After setting camp 80 miles from the city, they have already started heading straight for the city gates. As expected, Li He remarked. This villain has done as you predicted, first settling a small force outside the mountain to secure the pass and the transport of supplies, then coming to assault us. Dao Xian, are you fully prepared? Dao Xian the Wanderer was seated cross-legged on the ground. Surrounded by a variety of flags, array plates, and spirit stones, he said with assurance, I have integrated the Golden Bell Array with the city walls of Chuanqiu Prefecture. This formation is a first-rank top-grade formation, capable of protecting the entire city walls. Even if parts get damaged, I can repair them quickly. Even if they try to breach the walls, it would take them at least 10 days to half a month. The city is as secure as a fortress. Chapter 719 Bailiang King _5. Where is the Heavenly Book Array? Cautiously, Ling Yun said, if Chun Sanxi brings out the Heavenly Book Array, we too need to have a way to respond accordingly. We can't rush this. Dao Xian Wanderer said, preparing a large-scale Heavenly Book army formation requires an immense amount of array flags and spirit stones among other materials. These things are all requested from our sect, and while we have enough, I still need to imbue each one with enlightenment. Once my 8 gates Golden Lock Immortal Trapping Formation succeeds, we can then try to encircle and kill Chun Sanxi. Until then, defending the city will suffice. The formations within the Heavenly Book often require thousands or even tens of thousands of people and are simply not something a solitary cultivator can bear the cost of. But for a sect, it represents a considerable expense as well. I really have no idea what kind of magical artifact Chun Sanxi has in his hands and what power he uses to circumvent the spiritual energy provided by spirit stones and activate the great array without any cost. The more I think about it, the more unbelievable it seems. Rumble. While they conversed, the city suddenly trembled. They could now see, in the distance, the vast white land gradually engulfed by a wave of pitch-black tide, the soldiers of the Bailiang army. Hod. Within Chuanqiu Prefecture, which had long been prepared, the battle drums resounded. All soldiers from the central plains grabbed their weapons and waited in strict formation atop the city walls. At this moment, although the sound of war drums and galloping horses was incessant, in the perceptions of both enemies and allies, it was as though everything were eerily quiet, filled with unbearable tension, as if an invisible force in the void continued until the army flags of both sides waved simultaneously, and then the pent-up force exploded. Crossbowmen, fire, catapults. The battle was on the verge of breaking out. Like a torrential downpour, arrows arced through the sky, only to be blocked by the shielded frontline troops and siege engines of the Bailiang army. Boulders launched from the rear of the Bailiang troops, like small mountains, kept crashing down on Chuanqiu Prefecture. However, at the instant the boulders fell, thin golden barriers suddenly lit up atop the walls of Chuanqiu Prefecture, protecting the entire city within them. Boom rumble. The boulders exploded into fragments, but the city walls remained unscathed. Subsequent fire arrows, the first arriving siege carriages, and the like met the same fate. No matter how they bombarded, they were effortlessly repelled by the golden barriers, unable to inflict any real damage to the city walls themselves. Chuanqiu Prefecture stood amidst the swirling snowflakes, shimmering with golden light, truly as impregnable as a fortress of gold. It's an array. Wei Xian immediately recognized. It seems there's still an array master within the city. He promptly raised his giant blade high, indicating to his brothers behind to slow down the pace of their assault. Within the overwhelming tide, a lone white figure surged forward, turning into an afterimage heading straight for the city, closing the distance of 500 paces in the blink of an eye. With a flash of spirit light, he now held a golden big bow in his hands, inscribed with mysterious runes. As he drew the bowstring, it hummed rumble, and the whirling snow around him gathered into a vortex at his front. Prince Chao Rong had long known that the man in the white robe was skilled with the bow and arrow, but what was eerie was that he didn't see any arrow in the man's hand or on the bowstring, which appeared empty from a distance. Whiz! At last, the taut bowstring returned to its place. In front of the man in the white robe, true power surged in layers, and the long-accumulated blizzard storm burst forth suddenly. After shooting out more than a dozen paces, the storm of snow quickly melted into ice water and then turned into steam under the intense heat. Suddenly, a red fire dragon burst out, carrying a wave of overwhelming force, arriving above the city walls in an instant. Prince Chao Rong had already been waiting for a long time. His reverse breathing technique unfolded, and the lower 8 scenic gods within his body awakened one after another. His bladeless broadsword, amidst the vast expanse of snow, blossomed with a dense killing aura. Killing aura. Originally, he practiced the gold element breathing method, which should have produced gold element true power. However, due to a fortuitous mistake, it transformed into killing aura true power, but because of this, the contained power surpassed that of the normal true power early stage. With one slash, he cleared a sunny void in the thick snow curtain, then collided fiercely with the fire dragon. After a momentary standstill, the fire dragon collapsed, but within it there was a silver bullet the size of a walnut, its surface runes lighting up one after another, then exploding with a tsunami-like spiritual power. Golden bow and silver bullet. Hum boom! Prince Chao Rong was forcefully shaken back half a step. At the same time, Chun Sansi, with the divine speed of his steed, had already charged to the gates of the city. The warhorse neighed. He spurred his white steed into a high leap, reaching several zhang up midair, and within an instant, he stowed Qian Sun into his storage bag, swapping it with a flying artifact underfoot, turning the golden bow and silver bullet into a long dan bright silver spear. One spear thrust forward. Blazing flames roared fiercely like the midday sun. Prince Chao Rong, undaunted and roaring, lifted his bladeless broadsword to smash down, the rolling killing aura like a black mountain's peak. Boom! The collision caused true power to surge outward, blowing away soldiers dozens of steps away. But at the same time, the other three also converged from various directions. Ling Yun, from the family of martial arts, held a soft sword in his hand. With the enhancement of the water element breathing technique, the sword, originally made of metal, turned completely soft like water, retaining toughness within its suppleness, striking the long spear. Water and fire are incompatible, neutralizing each other, and white smoke quickly enveloped an area of several zhang. Chapter 720 Bailiang King _6. And Daoxin Wanderer activated the pre-prepared array with both hands forming seals, and golden chains, like a dragon python, wound towards the white robe. At last, Li He, a cultivator from the Li family who had once consumed a foundation establishment pill and reached the 16th layer of qi refinement, with profound mana unleashed his lifebound flying sword, cleaving with a sword that split mountains and seas. Young thief, meet your death. In the blink of an eye, Chun Sansi's pupils flared with flames, as his fire element true power surged again, forcefully repelling Ling Yun and Prince Chao Rong before sweeping through thousands of enemies. A fire arc slashed through, melting snow while shattering all the chains summoned by the array. Just a moment before Li He's flying sword could strike, he blocked it with his spear. Boom! A loud sound. Both sides saw only the white robe, who had just ascended the city wall, flung back hundreds of steps under a siege, steadying his form with a flying artifact just before hitting the ground. Unexpectedly, he did not return to the fight but turned direction, flying towards the distance and quickly disappearing into the vast curtain of snow. The Bailiang army also sounded the horn to recall troops. This storm had come quickly and left just as suddenly. After a brief clash, all was peaceful again. Atop the city wall, Prince Chao Rong barely suppressed the urge to pursue. Chao Daoyu, stay calm. Daoxin Wanderer advised. There's a saying, do not pursue a desperate enemy. This person is cunning and treacherous, likely trying to lure us out of the city. Chao Rong naturally understood this reasoning and ultimately controlled his emotions. This lad should have been executed long ago. In that exchange, Li He felt the prowess of his opponent. Among the four present, including Chao Rong who had tempered himself in reverse, and himself at Qi refining 16 layer, theoretically, they all should have been stronger than their opponent. Yet, he felt that if it came to a solo fight, perhaps none could match the white robe, who was only suppressed by their combined efforts. Fortunately, they could hold the fort. The defensive strategy was correct. Ling Yun remarked. His spear technique is extremely fierce, unlike anything seen even in the cultivation world. Well then, let's hold the city. Although Chao Rong was obsessed with martial arts, having been able to defend the south over the years, he was certainly no fool. He said gravely, the exchange just now was merely their probe. Before long, a large army will head south from Qilin Mountain until they marshal 150,000 troops and deploy the Heavenly Book Array. That's when the real fierce battle will begin. Luckily, we can continuously transport supplies into Chuanqiu Prefecture. As long as we rely on this city to stall for time, within 100 days, the enemy forces will collapse on their own. At that moment, we can seize the opportunity and take his dog's life. Daoxin brother, I hope you can quickly make the array flags and use the Heavenly Book Array soon. Of course. Daoxin continued working immediately. The four had different statuses, but at this moment, they cooperated completely with only one goal in mind, to drag the white robe to his death. Bailiang Army. Central Army Tent. What a perfect fortress. As Chun Sansi predicted, Chuanqiu Prefecture was indeed a city that would not be easily conquered in a short time. Then let's proceed as planned. He ordered. Send orders to Su Wenkai. The entire army must immediately march to Yunzhou and must breach it within the designated time. After the supplies in Chuanqiu Prefecture are cut off, attack from the eastern wing to enclose Chuanqiu Prefecture. Wei Xian expressed some concerns. Brother Chun, are you still going to take just 7,000 men through the mountains to defend Hongdu Prefecture? That will surely provoke a retaliation from 20,000 troops. Wouldn't that be too risky? To continue staying in front is the real risk. Chun Sansi had never wavered in his strategy after setting it. My mind is made up, carry it out. Leading 2,000 vanguard army troops, as well as the brief siege, was merely a decoy to confuse the opponent. The real army had already secretly marched toward Ustate, just waiting for the military command to strike. This was a case of repairing the plank road in the open, and this siege was also a probe on all fronts, including the capabilities and levels of the opponent. These 4 people on paper all seem superior to him, that aged cultivator even far surpassing chi refining perfection. Then there's Chao Rong. His 4th senior brother once mentioned in a letter that the dragon scripture he submitted to the court was reversed, many places tampered with. Yet, in this chaotic cultivation technique, Chao Rong managed to cultivate it, and the true power he condensed was also very fierce. Truly, it's a world with endless wonders. Additionally, they have an array master. This is what Chun Sansi was somewhat worried about, because it meant that the array from the heavenly book might be used by the court. So it was all the more crucial not to delay. All right then. Wei Xian didn't try to persuade further, but requested, how about this? I go with you to defend Hongdu? They have a full 20,000, and the 4 in Chuanzhou Prefecture are superior to you in realm and cultivation. You were very easily repulsed in the clash just now. With 1 more person, there will be more strength. No, Yunzhou lacks true power warriors. Su Wenkai needs you. Chun Sansi said, as for Hongdu, I alone am enough. In the clash, he indeed found himself in a severe disadvantage. But he hadn't died. As long as he could hold on, there was a chance to hang on until victory. This was the only chance for their Bailiang. Only such an arrangement could possibly allow the fastest entry through the pass, and then to decide the fate of the Central Plains in one battle, marching to the capital city to take the old emperor's dog life. Best if they could make it before the other's foundation establishment. A military family can never be gambled with. But when holding insufficient chips, yet needing to make a significant bet, there's only a choice to stake everything. The military orders were quickly conveyed. Just as the Chuanzhou Prefecture's garrison troops stood in strict formation, waiting for the next fierce siege, Ustate's 130,000 troops suddenly changed direction, their spearheads pointing directly at Yunzhou.